Them I see a weak show. It's them I see a weak show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's them I see a weak show. It's them I see a weak show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's them I see a weak show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey! We growing, we know it. Bring a spoon, pot covered in the air. Let the leaders hear. If this is noise, then we join make noise tonight. If this is noise, then make more noise. Noise is forward, the people voice. Okay, bring your drum, your whistle, your gun shell clear.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. We're coming to you live from Barbados. It is a great night, and I have my co-host with me this evening. He is the Reverend Dr. Ferdinand Nichols. Good night, sir.
And a great good evening to you as well, Marcia. What a pleasure it is to join you again on your show and to be able to articulate some of the concerns of the people and be the voice of the people. And this is so important for us. I really appreciate not only the opportunity, but the aspect that the show serves. And it's very important that we continue to use our voice, not just to agitate and to mobilize, let me make sure I get it, educate, mobilize, motivate, and
Agitate.
agitate. Emma.
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 So it's a real joy to join you again this evening. And, we're in for a great show this evening as well.
Yes, wonderful. And in this evening's show, folks, we are saying the ballots have been counted, all the seats are filled, the headlines have moved on, basically. But one thing we want to say, democracy does not end when the numbers are announced. By the way, we're still waiting on the final numbers to be announced. Tonight, our show is not about defeat, it's about courage. Because, Dr. Ferdinand, it takes courage to run when the odds are stacked. It takes courage,
Absolutely.
to stand when the atmosphere is hostile. And it takes courage to keep working in your constituency when the cameras leave. And so tonight, as you know, we're going to be talking to some of the candidates of the Democratic Labour Party in particular, because those are the ones that we've been asked to speak to. I've been getting your calls, and you want to know what happened to Damian Fanos and everybody else, and Jamal Sandiford and everybody. And so we should have about 4 of them coming on tonight. So tonight, we're going to honor that courage. But we also are going to ask some questions, Dr. Ferdinand. If there's talk about no crossing the floor, what does the Constitution actually say? Are we strengthening democracy, or is it that we're tightening control? Where are the official turnout numbers? Today is Sunday, February 15th, Dr. Ferdinand, and we have not gotten the official numbers.
That is correct, Marcia. So far, we are going by, I would have to say, what social media is saying. But we have not heard of the official numbers, to the best of my knowledge, from the EBC. That has not been forthcoming as yet, and I have my doubts that it's going to paint any other picture than what we've already seen being painted.
Correct. And so we're saying that the fight for accountability does not end at the ballot box. Let me repeat that for everybody who's watching and they wonder, why are they still having a show? Because the fight for accountability does not end at the ballot box. If our democracy is strong, it should be able to handle some scrutiny. Yes? And so tonight we are going to have those discussions. Get ready, folks, to call in to speak to the candidates. We'll tell you when to send in your questions that you may have to speak with the candidates. Folks, go ahead and begin to like. Important that you like and
And
you
sure,
share.
yes.
Yes. I don't know if I told you this, Dr. Ferdinand, but over the weekend, I believe it was Saturday morning, we got a message from YouTube that someone in the UK is trying to enter into our YouTube channel, and they told us to quickly change the password. So we
Oh,
did
wow.
that. So I just want to let everybody know that, folks, the prayers continue, because they will try one way or the other to try to stop the show, but we know that they're not going to succeed. So continue to pray, and then when you come on, the more you like the show, like it. Everybody now, there are 538 of you join now. We're so happy to have you. Go ahead and like and share into your groups. This is the time now because the show is going to be, I mean, amazing tonight. Judy Jilks, thank you for joining. There's Taroni. I'm seeing Taroni. Taroni had a birthday yesterday, Dr. Ferdinand.
Oh, really? Well, belated birthday greetings to you, Taroni.
Yeah. Lucinda Allen, welcome. And Iretha, welcome. Marva, welcome. Yes. Welcome, Mildred, Ben. Welcome, Bim Lady. How are you? Sandra, how are you doing? This is our family, part of our family. Jacqueline, good evening. Good evening, Shirley. Mavis Lashley, good evening. Good evening, Monica. Oh, wow. Beijian boy, good evening. I'm a big girl. Good evening, Sherry Berry. Good evening, ADG. Good evening. Oh, wow, they're coming in. They're coming in. Alert. Matthew B. Good evening. Hey, Cami. Good evening. Stephen Jackman. Good evening. Angela Burke. Good evening. Humble Soul. Good evening. Lemuel Tell. How are you? Corinne Lashley. Good evening. Jefferson Sobers. Sonia Perch. Joyan Roberts. Beverly Perscott. Corinne Lashley, good evening. It's important, Jean, that we say good evening to everybody. Hazel, Jean Perry, Hazel, Digital Island, here 9352. These names, Judith M. Clark, how are you doing? Monica Inns, Digital Island Boy. Did I say
Oh, yes, yes.
I did. I think is that Antigua flag? I'm not sure. Colorts. M. Hoyt. I don't think I did that yet. Patrice Green. Yes. Like and share, guys. This is the time. Michael Jilks, how you doing? Doretha Weatherhead. Cherry Berry. Diana Husband. Marilyn Pascal. Chantel Williams. Marietta Ford. Dale Worrell. Chantel Williams. I said that already. Celia Mason, CG, how you doing? Ann Mills, how you doing? Oh my goodness, Dr. Ferdinand, anything you want to say to our viewers? I see you
Oh,
with a big
wow. I mean, it's just exciting to see them every show we have. I've monitored it even while I was away. I thank God for faithful, loyal supporters of the show, because that is a commodity that is sadly lacking in our environment today, the aspects of loyalty and commitment and dedication. And it's a real joy to see them on every show. And these are serious people, Marcia. They're not jokers. Some of the comments that we see are very potent and are very strong. We see people that do apparently a lot of research as well.
Yes.
They can provide us sometimes with information we don't even have.
You're right.
And I remember, I think it was Friday night, because the days are going so quickly. I remember, I think it was Angela that was recording all our. I called her on Friday night our scribe, because she has recorded so much information. In terms of all the people that have spoken, have been on the program. There's somebody, that's Herbert Brown. Welcome. He's watching from Jamaica. Hubert Brown, I apologize. Welcome from Jamaica.
Yes, very good.
And
Please share it around in Jamaica. Share it around.
yes,
And we missed, guess who? You missed your friend, Alfred Benjamin.
yes, I have missed
He's from
Alfred.
Brooklyn.
I haven't seen him on quite a few nights. I trust he's okay. I hope that everything is fine with him. I usually see him on every single show. And there's one other person as well from New Jersey. I don't recall who that is, but someone from New Jersey as well. I'm just watching the comments. Look at that. We have some people watching from the United Kingdom.
Yes, Steve Moore is
My
a regular.
goodness.
Hi, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Wonderful.
Steve Moore is a
Just
regular.
share. That's wonderful. I see my
Chesterfield.
namesake there, Chesterfield Nichols, and that's the correct way to spell our name. Um,
You're
no
trying to
offense,
be
no
offensive.
offense to the other Nicholses, but really wonderful to see all of them, and to know that they are the voices. They are locked on to defending their country. And Marcia, I have found it now. and almost a part of my language. I commit myself to my country, or our national pledge. I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living to do credit to my nation wherever I go. And we are really grateful for every single one of you that stand with this show, and we thank you so much for sharing and liking.
Yes, most definitely. Another person, Ben Bowen. I saw him last night, not on Friday
From
as well.
Atlanta.
But I didn't realize he was from Atlanta. Go ahead, guys, and like and share. There is you would understand that right now the only other thing that's left for them to try to destroy is this show, and we are pledging allegiance to our country. Normally,
Yes.
Dr. Ferdinand, you say this, and when you say it, it is so touching. Go ahead and say this. Let them know that this is what we're about, and those who are trying to shut down the show, this is what they're trying to shut down. Go right ahead.
Yes, and thank you so very much. I pledge allegiance to my country, Barbados, and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living to do credit to my nation wherever I go. And
Yes.
as mentioned on Friday, Marcia, that the last 3 months that my wife and I were away, when we did travel over those 3 months, going into Colombia and coming back out, I felt there was something special this time, because on every occasion, my jacket lapel carried my national flag pin. And sometimes people would ask, where are you from? They would see the pin, and then others would recognize the pin and say, "Oh, you're from Barbados." And it was like, "Oh, wow," that kind of thing. I'm really proud of my country, and I'm proud of my flag.
Amen, amen. And to the brother who's watching from Jamaica, I am Jamaican born, but Barbados is my adopted country. This is where I have been living. I've lived longer in Barbados than I've lived in Jamaica. You never take your birthplace is always your birthplace, but the reality is this is where I have been called. This is where I live. This is my become my family, and I do have family in Jamaica, but this is where all of my work is done. I've, as I said, lived longer here, and and the people are so warm and beautiful. Can I just show you something, Dr. Ferdinand? That happened today. I was home in my bed, laying down and praying and getting ready for the show, and I'm going to talk to you about Beijian hospitality and the beautiful spirit of the Beijian people. And I got a call saying, Marcia, I want to come by, and I live in St. Philip, and I want to drop off something for you. And it was okay because it's somebody that I know who would have dropped off things to people in need before. So I wasn't sure what she had. It might have been a bag with clothes or something. As you know, we try to take care of those who are less fortunate. And she brought this for me. It's called Dawn by Nature. And let's see if we can make that. Let me make it a little bigger for you to see. Dawn by Nature, smoother me in chocolate, all over body cream. Let me tell you, this thing, it smells so good, Dr. Ferdinand. I'm telling you. Listen, she needs to get a mail pack and mail bag for you. And it
Yeah.
came in this little bag here. Sorry guys. It just came in this nice little bag, and it had 2 bars of soap. And this one is called Mackison, and all natural soaps, luxury handmade soap. I don't know, Dave, can you put up their Facebook page? She didn't ask me to do this, by the way. Um, Repeat. Can you put up the Facebook page? Sure. It's called Dawn by Nature. It's right there in your WhatsApp. Dawn by Nature. You can search for them, guys, on Facebook. Dawn by Nature. Please support them.
Wow.
Yeah, please
I'm
support them.
almost tempted to say non GMO.
Yeah, let me tell you, this is all natural stuff in this.
Uh,
oils of you have saponified
Wow.
oils of olive, coconut, palm, castor, sunflower, sweet almond. They have clays and fragrance and cocoa and all kinds of things in the soap. Now, the soap that I used this evening was called Cuckoo. And I'm like, I know why she gave me that soap, Dr. Ferdinand. She knows I'm a great cuckoo maker. I'm the best in Barbados. I have the best,
Okay.
mine is in the mixer. And everybody knows mine is the one is the cuckoo to die for. So she gave me a soap called Cuckoo, and it was beautiful. And I decided she did not ask me to do this, but we are one here, and when you see how it's wrapped and everything, it's beautiful, guys. It's really beautiful, and this, oh gosh, everybody needs this in their life. Everybody, I guess that's the one in the middle there. Go and find her, please. She's in St. Philip, my whole where I live, and go and support her. Yes,
Wonderful.
yes. But
Wonderful.
and so and again, remember the where we did the my memories is I'm not remembering a lot of things right now, but the other place that we promoted on
On
Friday,
Friday.
right, that did the
That,
pedicure and manicure, etc., and massage, etc. I just want to thank Barbadians for their kindness and recognizing Dr. Ferdinand the work that we do on this show, and they are showing their appreciation in different ways. Thank you all so very much. Now, I just before we jump in, we have the candidates who are going to join us in 7 minutes, but I want to remind you of my book. When we lose our fare, they lose
they
their
lose their
power,
power.
and that book is on Amazon. All right. And when you purchase a copy of the book, the proceeds of the book, all of the proceeds will go towards the feeding program in Maturo, Kenya, because that phrase, Dr. Ferdinand, as you would remember, came
Yes.
from
From
the young
Kenya.
Kenyans. Yes. And this is a book here, and it's a powerful book. Actually, after she dropped off this, I gave her a copy of the book, because we're not taking any of the proceeds of this book. All right. Let me move the banner so you can see. It's a
Wow.
very good read.
You
Yes.
need to see. Sorry to interrupt you, Marcia, but you need to see that comment.
Yes. Somebody said, what's that?
The show was just mentioned on Just Politics, Our Worldview. That's an international group.
Oh,
That's a
really?
big one too. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sorry to have interrupted you. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, no, no. That's good. Oh wow, that's good. That's good. Jacqueline says that she's in the middle of reading my book, which we're going to have an evening, Dr. Ferdinand, where we study different books. And in your absence, we started with Animal Farm, and
Yes.
we're in the middle of Animal Farm, and we're going to finish up that. But this book is by me. When we lose our fare, they lose their power. And the proceeds of this book does not go to Marcia Weeks. I have somebody actually goes into a whole different account. Somebody manages that, and that is going to go straight to Kenya. So right now, if I have a few minutes, oh boy, I have 5 minutes to show you what we have been doing in Kenya. If we could see those pictures, it's a Maturu primary school feeding program, and where we're offering one bowl of porridge before school, fueling young minds and bodies to thrive and succeed. All right, and we're asking for a donation of whatever you can, to do that. Dave, if you could kindly put up the pictures that we had up. That might be hard, no? Let's put up the pictures. Thank you so much, Dave, for putting up the pictures. There's a reason we are not going to put that up right now. It has the information, something on there that's not quite correct. So let's just put up the pictures. We would really love to see the pictures up, of what is happening. If you would like to give to the Maturo Um, look at them. Oh my God. And I went to Kenya. I saw them. I saw them. And
Wonderful.
I saw these children, and I know that I wasn't going to not do anything. I want to thank those who have helped, names that they don't want their names to be called, but they have been helping them get their porridge. They're lining up for their porridge, and yes, that's them there now. I've been told by the principal today that now you have full. Now what's happening is that you have full um what you call attendance. There is full attendance.
Wonderful.
Yes, full attendance, full attendance. There in Kenya. And you might say, why are you doing Kenya? Because that's where a lot, I was in Dave and I, we were in Kenya, and we saw the children eating stuff in this particular community, not the entire Kenya, so don't get it twisted. In Maturo, the children were picking up the cane, this, that people eat, that have already eaten and sucked off the ground. And and I heard from the principal that a lot of them, they have one meal a day and they don't have breakfast. They just have their dinner when they go home. So I thought that I would ask, because it wouldn't cost us a whole lot to give them a cup of porridge. And that's what I'm doing. And that's where every cent from this book, I have not used it for myself. It is going into this feeding program, but we need some more help. Okay, so we needed to buy a book or just donate. If you already have a book, but and you don't want to, you don't have to buy the book. Just send them. You can to message us and say, listen, we want to send the money to them so that they can get the porridge. You might ask, how are we checking on this? We have teamed up, Dr. Ferdinand, with the Lumumba's foundation, PLO Lumumba, who is very well known across Africa, and PLO Lumumba. And so, yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. We would love to. Is this Angela? Yes, you know, Angela. One of the things you want to do. Why isn't it showing up? I don't know. The comment is okay. One of the things we want to do is to visit Kenya. We would love to take the entire group. We go a trip to Kenya and go to see these children. PLO Lumumba, he's helping us with this project. We do have people who go in and just do checks on them to make sure that everything is going great. Yes. So we want to do that. The cost of the book, I believe, is $9 US. It's $9 US is the cost of the book, $9.99, something like that. And you just go to Amazon and if you put in my name, it should come up. Or if you put in when they lose their fare, when we lose our fare, they lose their power. Okay. All right. So that is some of the good work that we are doing, not just in Barbados. Thank you, Judy, but in Africa as well. And it is our joy would be to, truthfully, we would love to be able to bring a whole set of people with us to Kenya. Of course, a lot of you want to go and see Tio. What's the name of the place again, Dave? What's the name of the leader? The young leader. Right. Yeah, Abraham Theory, right? Yes, a lot of people would want to see him as well. Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you. Yeah, yes. Yeah. All right. So they're saying that the show is not, that you were saying was
nothing to shout about.
It's not international. It's a local.
No. I thought I mistaken it for another show that I usually watch.
Another
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks. That is Kenya. This is bringing back great memories.
Wow.
And
Look at
Dr.
those
Ferdinand, you
kids.
want to make the trip with us?
I would love to. I mean, I'm just looking. There's one thing that has always inspired me with African children is the energy and the joy that they display. And I'm often left to wonder: are these people living really in the hardships that we hear so many talk about? Because there's just whenever you see them, there's such a joy. There's such an energy. It's like they're on top of the world. You remember that old song, "Looking Down on Creation"? They're a
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful bunch.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, well, Dr. Ferdinand, we did say that the candidates were going to be on tonight because the fight continues. I see. Okay, great. I see that Quincy is able to get his microphone open, and I'm waiting for his mic to be open. And Jamal, if you guys can link up, get to hold of Rahman, and also Panos, okay, so that you can all be in the studio at the same time. Now, folks, do you know that there were six of the candidates that were part of the Young Dems, Dr. Ferdinand?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah,
Hearing you.
six of the candidates, young people. And tonight we are going to have a chat with them, waiting on Quincy to turn on his camera. And then we're going to at least bring him and Jamal Sandiford into the chat tonight. Okay, so I see Quincy's trying to get back in. And yes, so then Quincy, what you can do is to remove the next one, the other one that you have there, folks. Right, so I'm seeing two Quincy. Quincy, we only want to see one Quincy. Very good.
Okay. Ah, wonderful.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, tonight we have with us Jamal Sandiford. And Jamal, I want for each of them, I want to say something about them. Okay. Before they come on, Dr. Ferdinand. So Jamal was the one who was the candidate running against Mia Motley, and he's actually was the youngest candidate. Now, the interesting thing about Jamal is his voice. His voice is big and looming, and his presence. So he's the youngest, and he has a strong presence. And people call him, says he's David going up against Goliath. And his song, I mean, every time his song came on, I was dancing. I just love young people, and I love the spirit. I love the fact that he wasn't afraid and he was willing to fight. And then you have Quincy Jones. Now Quincy Jones he's like an old soul in a young body. That's how I see him. And Quincy is very meticulous, very organized, and his speeches are always well put together. He leaves nothing but for chance. I went to see his constituency office. Let me tell you, man, my guy got this thing done back. You would think he's an old man. And I think they have done such a great job. I think Jamal is having some challenges. So I'm going to bring Quincy in right
Well,
now.
Marcia, when I first heard his name, he brought back some memories. I don't know how many of you remember a great music producer in the United States, Quincy Jones. Produced some of the greatest songs and best music back in the 70s, I think it was, 70s and the 80s. And I said, wow, he's running here in Barbados. He's now living here. And, it was rather interesting. Great name you have, sir. Welcome to the show tonight. Your name carries great memories of great productions, great music.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ferdinand. Welcome, Quincy, to the Marcia Week Show.
Good night to you and to everyone, and especially good night to Barbados.
Yes, sir. I remember coming up to your your constituency office, and you could tell that this was something was happening here. Your office is right in front of Dighton Griffith School. Am I correct?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Oh boy, Dave got it. Right, yeah, and you know, Quincy, I tell you, you could tell that something was happening at this particular building. And at nights, what you didn't leave anything for chance. At nights, you had lights.
Yes.
Talk to me. I mean, you seem to have enjoyed this process. Quincy, talk to me about this process of being a candidate, and tell us the name of your constituency again, please.
Right. Good night to everyone once again. My constituency is Christchurch East Central. Is one of the biggest constituencies in Christchurch with over 10,500 voters. So it is one of the biggest ones in terms of the candidates in Christchurch. As some people might not know this, but I am a band leader. So I add my element of crop over-ish to the political aspect of crop over to the politics. And as you said correctly, I'm very meticulous, I'm very detailed, I'm very organized. And when I moved into the constituency office, I got it repainted, got it both in and out. I made sure that what would stand out and how will it stand out would be very important. And I believe that those small details adds to the element of candidacy and readiness in the constituency for sure.
Yes, yes, most definitely. And you know, Dr. Ferdinand, jump in if you have a question there for him. Go right ahead. You're muted. Are you muted, Doctor?
Sorry, I did mute. I did mute my mic to ensure that there was no interference or anything of that sort. But it's good, Quincy, to see you as a young man taking on that mantle and taking on that responsibility of the future of our country. It is something that is of deep concern to me because I now have 6 grandchildren. And several years ago, an old preacher said to me, when you have children, it's one thing, but when you have grandchildren, it's another. And it's important to us, the future that we see are being left where our grandchildren are concerned. So I really want to commend you for taking on the task and the role and being interested enough in our country to put at risk your future, in a sense, because politics can be very brutal at times. So I want to really commend you, sir.
No problem.
Yes,
Thank you very
yes,
much.
most definitely. And Quincy, let me ask you, what would you say is the most memorable experience you've had in this process? You know, so I know it's been a long process for you, but let's talk about when you heard where were you? You heard that election was going to be on February 11th, and you say, "Oh my Lord!" Tell me, you know, in the 3 weeks leading up to that, after it was announced, what's the most memorable experience you've had?
I know that the election was approaching in a year, but to hear it be announced, it's two feelings that was going through me. I was kind of shocked and kind of excited because, you know, it was not a movie no more. It is not a guessing game. It was a real thing. And I was like, oh Lord, no. this is the real
This is the real battle you're in now.
this is the real battle. Here no more, you know, guessing if it's this day or that day. I will tell anyone there's no feeling that you could prepare for than hearing the actual day. You can think of this day, your mind is set, but until you hear that announcement and hear that this is a big thing and all eyes are on you officially, it was a very mixed feeling. It was interesting experience for me, and because of that, it brought a level of maturity for me because I had to prepare for this election in 3 weeks quickly, and I thank God for my organizational skills. I thank God I do not panic. and I actually like competition. So because of that, it brought a little more excitement to the race. And then for me, I was able to do my campaign how I wanted it done,
Yes.
even though it was led by the big boss, Mr. Jones, Ronald Jones.
Ronald
But
Jones. So
yeah,
Ronald, because when I came up to your constituency, and that's what I
uh,
love about the DLP. I really loved. I saw that the younger candidates were being mentored, and you could see it in your manner when you came on the stage. I said, "Look at him! Somebody told him how to behave on that stage." Me and my husband, we were watching you, and so Ronald Jones have been mentoring you. Has been mentoring you. Okay, you're getting some messages there.
Yeah,
Okay, he's trying to start. To start.
they're coming in fast and
But
furious.
you know, but what is good about this whole process, Doctor? While Quincy work out some technical issues there, is to see the mentorship, the level of mentorship that happens with these candidates. But I have also Damian Fanos is here. Good night, Damian. You have to unmute.
Hi, good
There
night,
you go.
Marcy.
Yes, we are hearing you. We're hearing you, Damien. And you became one of those people that everybody, they told me they want to hear from you. They want to hear from Damien. Is he okay? What is happening with Damien? And the elections are finished, and we're just asking everybody what is the most memorable experience you've had in the process? What has it been like for you? Good night.
What has it been like for me? Probably the most memorable experience was hearing that elections were called, and my aunt calling me and telling me, "Hey, you know that elections been called," and me telling her that's not true. That's impossible. There's no way that the prime minister is going to call elections at this point in time when she has at least 20 odd ministers who have not earned their pension yet. I mean, there's no way that she's that callous and that. She's obviously going to let them earn their pension and then call elections. I thought it was misinformation. So it took me a while to actually really believe that the elections were called. And then when I actually saw it, on the on social media and Barbados Today and the Nation News, they're saying that the Prime Minister had actually called for elections right after the ratification of Michael Ashley. I I was like, wow, this is it. This is it right now.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
yes, yes.
Tell me how
Tell me how
to prepare.
where?
I didn't hear you,
I
Marcel.
didn't hear the question.
Okay,
Okay, I'm going
I'm gonna have to
to have
mute.
to mute.
Okay, I think it's somebody is hello. Okay, I think it's Quincy's setup. If Dave can give him a call and see what we can do to help him there. It's creating a problem. All right, so let's see here. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about that. What was it? What was it? How did you start preparing? Because you were the last candidate that was set in place by Mr. Thorne. So
There was a,
how did you start preparing?
to be honest, there was no preparation. The only thing I could have done was actually just start canvassing. We didn't have time to do any fundraising. There wasn't any time to really, set up our infrastructure in regards to how we were going to set up our office or off the persons we were going to to bring in as our team and so on. It was just like, you know what, the elections have been called. You need to get out there and let people see you. So basically, I just had to get out there and canvass. So
Yes,
with the
because
2 weeks,
what we need to make clear is that you were what date were you what day were you announced as a candidate?
the 28th of December, and I
So
think
the
the election.
The 28th of December. The 28th of December. That's what we
Yeah,
have to remember, the 28th of December, because, and the reason yours was so last minute was because you were said Michael West, when Shaquani Hunt was. And
yes,
Shaquani, who was probably one of the first to be identified as a candidate, you had to fill in when she left and went to the Barbados Labour Party. So I mean, right off the bat, I mean, you guys had so much to deal with, come to think of it.
yes, very true. I mean, it was a beautiful moment, but at the same time, it was a stressful moment because this is something that you wanted, you aspire to. You told yourself, "Oh yes, you're going to represent a constituency that needs representation," and now you've been named as a candidate, which means that the Democratic Labour Party would have put faith in you. You've been ratified, but then at the same time, you've not had any time to put any infrastructure in place. So it was basically a double-edged sword at the same time. You're happy, you're ecstatic, you've been named, but then at the same time, you've come to the realization, well, you're not going to have any time to put in any work. And are you going to be able to make an impact in the short amount of time that you're being given, seeing that the Prime Minister has called for elections in the manner that she did and the time that she did? What can you do other than just get out there and show your face and hope that people, take advantage of social media, take advantage of doing the canvassing, and hope that you spread your message within the short space of time that people would say, "Hey, I can put faith in this youngster because he has a message and he has a plan for St. Michael West." Not hearing you, Marcia.
Dr. Ferdinand, any comments for Mr. Fanos before we're going to jump to Jamal and then back to Quincy?
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
it must have been quite a task for you, sir, to take on such a significant opponent, for that matter, and to ready yourself. You had no time, really. December the 28th, and that's during the Christmas season as well, when people are so distracted. New Year's time and so on, and to be able to pull together a team. How did you go about trying to get that team together? I mean, what were some of the things you had to do? The phone calls you had to make. What were some of the things you had to accomplish to get that team together to help you?
Well, there were some persons in the party who recognized that there were several candidates, the younger candidates, who would have needed a little more personnel around them, a little more guidance, a little more infrastructure. So
Mm-hmm.
actually volunteered some help. I would have had some help from my branch, the St. Michael West branch. Most of my team would have came over there. Ariel Rock would have been my campaign manager, and her husband, Michael Rock, would have been my advisor. The chairman, Julie Austin, who is also very experienced in regards to elections and stuff, she would have given her all in regards to trying to help guide me and stuff like that. Also, Michael Haddock and other persons inside the branch. But really and truly, I mean, there's only so much you can do in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the leader as well would have offered. He obviously would have offered his guidance. There were senior members as well that would have offered their guidances. In regard to hey, this is what it is. The most you can do is probably just get out there and show your face. Get out there and show your face and canvas each and every single day. And it wasn't like a canvas where that, you canvas in the evening. It was like canvassing from like morning to evening. You had to be out there the entire day to try to touch as much boxes as you can. And even though that I think I would have probably touched 60% of the constituency. There were times that I would have probably went out there in the morning and only been able to only touch certain houses because other persons would have been working.
Yes, that's right.
And then they would tell, "Hey, I heard that you were in my area, but I didn't see you." Or they were person to tell me, "Well, I didn't see you at all." Because obviously, given the time, it basically you will only work with what you work with what you have. So it was, to me, I'm not going to I'm not going to say, if I had more time or this and next and 34th. It was a learning experience for me. I've gained a lot of experience. I've seen where now that, given the time, where I would have succeeded in certain areas and where probably I would have failed in certain areas, and probably where I can do better in certain areas. But to me, I have no regrets. It
Mhm,
was a pleasure
mhm.
getting out there in St. Michael West. I met so many people in that short space of time. I had people come and tell me, "Hey, I like you. You're a nice person, and you seem to have our best interests in mind." And I honestly had a great time during the process, and I'm looking forward to sticking with it and showing the people that I just didn't only
Yeah,
make a connection, but
that's
I
really
was,
good.
and show them that, the Democratic Labour Party has a plan for them, and we will eventually be victorious.
Yes, and I just want to say to these people, and that's the thing about it. We don't. Let me turn off your mic. There's a noise that keeps coming through, Damien, on your mic. You know, to can you imagine you're named as a candidate December 20th. This is from because we have to, and you have those people, and I'm going to go to Jamal now. But you have those people, everything they blame the DLP and they blame Mr. Thorne. But a candidate was chosen for St. Michael West, I believe it is, for almost a year or more. That candidate was chosen, and the candidate left and went to the BLP. And so Mr. Thorne had to then choose a candidate by December 28th. So think about that. And elections are going to be called January 21st. So listen, probably if you listen, those of you who are commenting on here, you might just learn something and understand something. Or it might be a case where you don't want to understand. You just want to blame. Yeah. All right. But let's get right to Jamal. Let's get right to Jamal. Jamal, I call your name and I start to smile because I see you with a little brown bag on your shoulder, and you're up there, the youngest candidate, and a man's voice bigger than I mean, bellowing and commanding the stage and powerful. Ah, I am so proud of you. You don't even know. when
Well,
I
thank
think
you.
when I'm at
Appreciate it,
home
Marcia.
and I think of you, this is it. A big smile. I'm so proud
Well,
of
thank
you.
you so much.
Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. What can you tell us what's the main thing that you've learned in this process of being a candidate, your first time? What's the main thing you would say your main takeaway?
Well, the main takeaway that I got is that elections are not necessarily about who might be the better fit for the job, but oftentimes they're about who's more known, right? And that is what I learned within this past election. We didn't have enough time to canvass the entire constituency because the honest truth, it would actually take you more than a year. Maybe if you're lucky, a year and a half. So there's a lot of areas I didn't get to penetrate. However, I was fortunate enough that being on your show, being on DLP TV, doing content, going into certain areas of the field, and other people calling, other people and telling them, well, I met him and so on, that I was fortunate enough to got votes in every single box. And I even got some messages on Instagram up to as early as yesterday or the day before, where people actually told me that I've gotten entire households, like 5 votes in the household and so on. So what it showed me is that it's about how known you are. And yes, they're looking at what you can offer to the community, what you can do to help solve problems, but it's all about awareness, right? I'm going to mention one thing that I noticed on election day as well. I noticed that some older ladies came to the polling station and they did not have the mental capacity to remember my name. They actually went as far as to ask presiding officer, what's the name of the young gentleman that's running against me, Motley? And the the presiding officer told him, I can't tell you that. So I just asked myself, how many more votes could I have gotten if people have came and they were told your name? How many more votes could you have gotten if people that came weren't turned away or told they have to vote in somewhere else? How many more votes could you have gotten if the map was extended couple of weeks before election. The constituency map was extended. So there's a lot of things that had happened that I wouldn't say are the most fair, but as I said, the learning curve for me is the experience, one I definitely need to learn from. And it's something that I think everybody should keep in mind when you think about politics.
Yes, yes. Jamal, one of the things that I know that, let me try to get us all back in. One of the things that I know for sure that happened, you would normally have, I believe, Saturday morning trainings at
Yes.
the DLP, because sometimes you guys treated that like church.
Oh,
You don't break from that. And so those Saturday morning trainings were going on for a while, weren't they?
yes, there were. And I can see if you said I benefited from them a lot.
Tell
Then
us
you have
about that,
people like,
those training sessions, please.
okay, then you have people like Kenny Best, Stephen Lashley, David Eswick, and those people coming to share their experience about how things was and essentially more than one election, what is critical, what is more important, how to go about setting up your 21-day campaign. Those things were pinnacle. They were pinnacle and critical because they help you to understand what is important and what is necessary to be done through election
For the
campaign.
campaign. Now, I see a comment here where somebody's saying, Jess Hope is saying that Mr. Thorne, he didn't even know that he should have the list and to check for names on the list while canvassing. Let me ask you, is that something that you would say that the DLP candidates, including Mr. Thorne, did not know that he needs to check for the names on the list while canvassing?
That sounds very, very foreign. And I could use some other words to describe that as well. However, what it would say is this. That is just one of the few things that we were taught while doing training.
Thank
We
you.
found out how to operate within the polling stations. We found out, but the issue with the list was that the list had to be cleaned more than one occasion. And the facts or the stats where the list is concerned, to me, it's kind of flawed. You have dead people on the list. You had underage people on the list. You have people that are living overseas for years on the list, so you call migrated people on the list. And even when the city list is supposed to be cleaned on the day, sorry, about 3 days before election, we noticed that the list was extended. Now, my thing is this: people die every day, and every single day is not going to be somebody's birthday, so the list couldn't be that big. If you look at the population of the country itself, they actually have around 50,000 people more than you would expect for the population. So that guess that's going to show you, this wasn't clean. And when you have wrong stats to begin with, it's only obvious when the results come out that they're going to be wrong as well. And that's just one thing we mentioned
That you about that. Well, I'm glad you're going into that, because I'm going to speak with let me try to speak with Quincy right now. And one of the things, I realized before Quincy comes on, it's like that particular person who interesting what happens on social media, because I heard, that, oh, they don't train the candidates, and the candidates know to do this, and they're young, and you heard here that every Saturday morning for a long while there was training, and the list, actually the final list that they got, I think that was a few days before election. Quincy will make sure that that is so, and to be sending out, to be putting that there, that Mr. Thorne did not know how to go through his lists and all of that. That is so silly and stupid. Honestly, I have to call it what it is. And I'm sure that even after tonight, that person will continue to put that on social media. But let me go to Quincy. Quincy, there's this whole thing about the voters list. When did you get the final list, Quincy? Can you open your mic?
Hello.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
hearing you.
I'm hearing you.
All of us got the finalists the night of the meeting in Speightstown. So if I'm correct, so that was the Saturday or the Sunday. Can't remember. Everything happened so fast. But with yesterday, the list came very late. Um, so we had to quickly try to review it with the old list of 2025 and the new list of 2026. And there we discovered many things that that eroded the aspect of democracy on our constitutional rights. And just like Jamal, and I know that Vanis would have said it, there were people, I saw dead people came to the office and they're not dead. um, then there were people who voted in the constituency for years. And then on the day, was transferred far out in places that they were never or have never even lived in. Then there were people that were put on the list from overseas, and they came to me, came to the office the day of election, showing their passports, and they never traveled yet, and some that don't even have a passport. So there is a lot of discrepancies in what has occurred, and I hope that we get it right. And by getting it right, we need to get everyone involved, both the candidate and the MP for the area need to verify the list, because we may not know everyone that passed away or died, or even the post persons might not even know. So we really need to sit down and do our, better yet, revamp or clean the list, because it is something that is urgent and we should not wait till the next 4 years to deal with this matter, but it should be dealt with ASAP, asking candidates or persons to submit names or anything that to help solve the list. I'm all about solutions. The issue has occurred, and I think that we need to go forward now, looking at solutions on how best we can do it. I know that in Cayman Islands and other Caribbean countries, they do mail-in ballots for persons over a certain age and for persons who are living overseas. They do different ways and techniques of election ballots, electronic ballots. So we need now to revamp, to me, not just the list, but the entire electoral process on how we vote, and hope that we can, moving forward in the 21st century, this modern society, that when the next election is called, persons can be given at least 2 weeks to go and vote online, or persons can mail in the ballots, and also get the participation of the diaspora involved with what's happening in their country, where they can mail in their ballots, and then the day of voters. So we need to do this list properly, but we also need to look forward into doing new things. And I think that we need to progress towards new strategies such as electronic email ballots, electronic ballots, and getting the lists correct.
Well,
somebody.
let me turn
Let me
off
turn
your,
off your.
there seemed to be something happening there. Dr. Ferdinand, I don't know if you do you have, let me go to Fanas, and I don't know if you have any questions for him. Read the list. Do you have any questions? Read the voters list for Fanas.
Well, I mean, it would come along the similar lines that we've been listening to Quincy, Damien. When did you receive your list? And, when you stop and think about it in terms of how many people are on a list, Marcia, and the fact that we don't have the technology to know dead people, traveled people, people overseas, when you receive that list, we don't have that capability. I believe that would have come hard copy. Is that correct?
I think I would have received my list on the Sunday before the election.
What you're speaking about? What February the that would be what, February the 9th, February the 8th?
I think it's probably the
election was Wednesday the 11th. Yeah, Sunday the 8th is when you got your list.
Yeah, Sunday the 8th is when I got my list. Is when I got my list, and to me that is not good enough. That is not good enough.
Can you speak up a little more, Damien? Just speak up a little bit more. Thank you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We're hearing you. Yeah, keep at that level. Thank you.
Yeah, and to me that wasn't good enough. That was not good enough at all, because you can't be calling an election and then you don't even have a clean list. You don't have a sanitized list. You don't have a perfected list. That is not good enough. I would have heard situations where in my constituency alone, at certain ballot boxes, 50 people were turned away. And if that is not cause for you to have concern, it doesn't matter what your party affiliations are. If you vote red, if you vote yellow, if you support B or you support D, it should concern you that individuals, Barbadians, Beijians were disenfranchised, that they would have been voted in certain constituencies or certain parts of the country for years, and then when they turned up at where they have been voting for years, they're told, no, oh no, you're not voting here this time. You're voting in particular in other areas. That is not good enough. That is not good enough. And I think that the EBC and this government and the Prime Minister in particularly have to take responsibility for this. Because it's one thing to say that you want to win the election, but you cannot want to win the election so bad where you disenfranchise other Barbadians. And I have an issue with where a prime minister can call an election whenever they feel like in the five-year term limit. It to me is not good enough, because it doesn't promote democracy. Because
Hmm.
while you say democracy isn't only for those who vote. Democracy is for all those who take part in the electoral process, which is those persons who present themselves as candidates and representatives. They should be afforded the time and I guess the respect to say, well, okay, it is not about winning an election. It is about affording those persons all of the proper procedures, time, and everything that they need to present themselves as the proper choice to the people. So when we have a situation where that a prime minister or a ruling government can call an election whenever they feel like, because they just want to win, that is not democracy. That is you just trying to win. And trying to win is not democracy at all.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, let me bring back um Jamal Sandiford here. And somebody's asking a very strange question here, Gilbert Perry. I don't know if he had listened to Mr. Don made such a fuss about this on the campaign trail. And he's asking, why were these issues not raised on the campaign by Fannis and others? Issues about the list and the dead people on the list and so on. What would you say to Gilbert Perry?
Well, what I would say is that we did raise these issues more than one occasion at the national meetings. We spoke out about it, and we keep raising awareness. The truth is, we didn't have the authority to stop this election from happening. That would have been in the hands of the EBC, and they were even making complaints up to, I don't want to lie, it took us 2 days or so before the elections. They were still having issues with who was eligible to vote and so on, and how clean this was. They were making complaints. And then, I mean, like, after the election itself, they were still doing, after the claim that the Barbados the party when they were still doing tallies. So how could you be doing tallies after people have been confirmed to win? So you said a ruling party won again. So there's just a few things that we realized were going on, and we made arrangements. We raised awareness more than once. I think what kind of took things a different turn is when they had the observers coming to observe from overseas, and I don't know how much use there were, but as we can see how things turned out. We had a
Yes,
dirty list, and you can't be making judgments off a dirty list. As I said, if you start out with wrong stats, you're going to end with wrong stats.
yes,
So when
yes.
they claim that 41% of voters voted, but if 41% of a population that has been extended on paper is only going to look as though more people did vote,
Yeah,
you
but
know?
Jamal, we can't even quote that percentage because we have not seen that is coming from an influencer
Well said.
on social media. This is how the level that we are operating at. The EBC has not yet, to my knowledge, up to the when I was getting ready for the show, preparing today, I have not seen a document from the EBC which states how many persons,
No.
the total, how many persons have voted. So I don't know why an influencer is who is going to be telling us what the percentage is. Do you see what I'm saying? But I see
Correct.
Ramon Goodman has just joined us. Good evening, Ramon.
Hi, good evening, panelists, good evening, audience. Hope all is well. Good night to everyone in the diaspora as well. Good night.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Good night. Good night. Well, I say what I had to say about everybody, and I will say this about him, Dr. Ferdinand. What struck me about this young man is just one is how he was always smiling, right? Always smiling. That is this man, Ramon Goodman. And when we went down to, I was so tired, but I said to him, I have to go down to St. Andrew and support him because he's so supportive with everybody else. That's the truth. He supports everybody else. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to support Ramon. And what I saw was your rapport with the people in the community. As soon as you were getting ready to speak, a whole set of young people started to come close. And I'm thinking, how did you connect? There's some noise coming through. Is that where you are?
Oh, sorry about that. Just hold a second, please. Apologies.
Yeah. You know what was interesting, everybody, was just the fact that he's a young man, and I saw all these people coming up close to the stage because he was ready now to speak. I was really surprised at that out there in St. Andrew. And I thought that was great. That's a great testament there of your work in the community. Well, welcome. Tell us about your campaign.
But we were kind of cutting out there at the last bit. I heard tell us about, but I didn't hear the last thing you would have said. Sorry.
Tell us about your campaign.
Oh, my campaign was actually built on what the people were saying. I did a lot of groundwork. I wanted to do much more groundwork, but the amount of groundwork that I was able to do, I was semi happy with. I wanted to touch more people, and I will continue to touch more people because what I was saying and one of my slogans is it was all about the people and what the people were saying. So I would listen to the people, and then obviously on stage or where my speeches were concerned, I would voice the concerns of the people. And I thoroughly enjoyed the process. I thoroughly enjoyed the journey, and I will continue to do so as it is about the people. The people, they have the power. Now, I know a lot of people, I don't know, they would think that the politicians, they have the power, but really and truly, the people of the constituency, they have the most power. And I want them to know that. I want to know that there was someone there listening to them. I wanted them to know that there was someone there advocating on their behalf because that is what representation is supposed to be about. And that is what my campaign was based on and what
Yes.
was surrounded by the people. Right? So I heard you mention initially the younger people who would have come and surrounded the stage and so forth to listen. And the reality of it is we would have had a lot of one-on-one conversation and so forth, and I would have built relationships with those people. So, I was really happy to see that they would have supported the campaign and the continued campaign as well.
Yes. And you know what? I loved your speech. You spoke
Thank you.
very well on the night I
Yes.
was there.
Yes.
You remember? Go ahead, Dr. Ferdinand.
No, I was very. I mean, these gentlemen may not know me or may not know much about me, but I've been around politics since Tom Adams. I helped to canvass for my uncle in St. George North at the time, Fred Odell. I mean, some people may not even know what I'm talking about. But I was tremendously encouraged by the level of presentation that I saw coming from all of you as young men, and being thrown into the fray, so to speak. You're coming up against a massive juggernaut. Let's not fool ourselves. The Barbados Labour Party is not a fly-by-night organization. And because of the international status that the Prime Minister has been able to achieve over the last several years, you have that imagery, so to speak. And of course, you have the financing, and I don't even want to get into that. I don't even want to go there because I still have serious questions to ask concerning what I consider to be a compromising meeting between the Chinese Communist Party and a Labour Party in Barbados that is not a governmental meeting. And I would like to know what went on there, what was passed, was there any money provided? Because you're dealing with an organization that we all know is exceptionally dictatorial and is spreading money all over this country. That is a reality. So you're coming up against a massive machinery, which you didn't fundamentally have a lot of time to put your own mechanisms in place. And I was tremendously blessed to see how you all were able to respond. And it suggests to me that if you keep working over the next several years, providing, of course, that we see legislation pass that fixes the election date, because there is nothing to prevent what has happened on this occasion and the occasion before from happening again. Absolutely nothing. And that in itself undermines the whole aspect of democracy, because I've heard you tonight, a couple of you make mention of the fact that you really didn't have the time to put mechanisms in place and put things together. And that would have been a deliberate act. And I'm seeing some comments, sometimes I wonder where people's brains are when they make certain comments. I'm seeing comments to do with blaming this and blaming. The reality is staring us in the face. The Prime Minister knew very well what she was doing. Don't you doubt that for a minute. She knew that the mechanism was in place. She knew the machinery was in place. She knew the financing was in place. And I really have to commend every one of you. And I'd like to extend that commendation to your entire team, including Mr. Thorne, for how you presented yourself over the short space of time. You focused on a lot of the issues. One of the things, Marcia, I'd like to say is that this is one of the first elections in which I have actually heard a campaign by a party that did not attack in a nasty manner the opponents, and I was tremendously blessed by that. You all stuck to the points that you had. You stuck to what you wanted to present. You stuck to what aspects of governance you wanted to criticize, and you avoided the smear campaign that is often associated with politics in Barbados, and you are to be commended for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Ferdinand. Here are some of the problems that we've put together about the electoral list, and this is I like what Quincy says. We're seeking to move forward. It is not, we're not crying over spilled milk. We're saying that in order to preserve our democracy, these are some of the things that need to happen, right? The problems were real and they were widespread. And so these, as I said, were not isolated errors. They affected multiple constituencies and categories of voters. I remember somebody from Quincy's constituency was complaining. They sent her to 3. She wanted to vote in that, and she registered, and they sent her a letter and said that was where she was supposed to vote. When she turned up there, Quincy, she was sent to 4 different constituencies. I don't remember if she actually even voted in the end, but deceased persons remained on the voters list. This is where we need to take our discussion and come out of the blaming game here.
Marcia,
if
I could just say, at the end of every activity, a postmortem is required. This is done when we play cricket, far less politics, and an election. That's what we're doing. We're performing a postmortem to see what was compromise, what was done wrong, and what needs to be corrected. That's
Very
simply
well
what it
said.
is.
Yeah, so very well said. The second thing, eligible citizens with voting histories were missing. I have the names of some of these people here. Residents were classified as overseas voters, as Quincy was saying, or somebody. Transfer requests were not processed properly. Families living in the same house were assigned to different polling stations or constituencies. Many, including my son, 18 to 22-year-olds, were not registered. Some voters appeared on the master list, but not on their polling district list, creating confusion and delays. And as it says here, these were systemic administrative failures, not minor clerical mistakes. Very, very important here. Let me go to Quincy. Quincy, the campaign is is completed. Can you tell me what are your plans for your constituency going forward? You can unmute, please.
What I can say is that I have started my campaign already for the next election in the early. I have put out a schedule of this week, and every week we will put out a schedule per week. Today alone, I attended the Salvation Army's church in Wharton, and I will continue to visit all the churches in my community, even 3 times, 4 times throughout this year and years to continue. I've also started open clinics this week, and then I'm doing next weekend, sorry, I'll be doing my thank you walkthroughs to the constituencies, because how I did canvassing, I did it quite differently, probably old school, as you would say. I went door to door. So I think instead of thanking my persons, I think I need to go to them one-on-one to thank them, not just drive through a motorcade and parade, but to actually go to people one-on-one and thank them for giving me the opportunity. I did receive a lot of high votes in my constituency. That shows the voters' love for me, and I hope I will be given an opportunity next time to represent Christchurch Central. But for right now, I'm continuing along the path of Christchurch Central, and I am making sure that I am doing my proper research and plan early, and we will see how things go. But for right now, I'm back on the campaign trail, and I have started my canvassing, or what you could say, as we get ready for whenever next election is called.
So that is telling me you're not giving up.
No, not at all. I know starting. I know heating up.
Well, thank you so much, Quincy. Let me go now to Mr. Fanos. Mr. Fanos, what we have here is Quincy's schedule. So let's take a look at his schedule. And this is the caliber of candidates that we have, and he already has a schedule set up for February 15th. He's going to church at the Salvation Army in Wharton. They're in Wharton. Let me just turn off Fanos's mic. In Wharton, February 16th, he has an open door clinic. The 16th and 19th, and then February 20th, as he talked about, the walkthrough all day. And February 21st, he does a thank you canvas. And then he has to go back to the end with a church service at Christchurch Parish Church.
Yeah, yes, I think that just speaks to the caliber of candidate that Quincy is. Quincy is someone that I would have known from the University of West Indies when he was running for the Guild. And Quincy always put a lot of detail and a lot of thought into how he wants to reach out to the people that he is trying to win over. So this is nothing par for the course in regards to Quincy. So this is nothing surprising, and that is the type of caliber of representation you can expect from somebody as experienced and nuanced as Quincy. So that is my the endorsement of you, Mr. Jones. So there you go. There you go. So it just goes to show you that the Democratic Labour Party, the candidates, we we do go the extra mile in regards to presenting ourselves as the type of candidate and the type of representative that a constituency needs. We think about the things that a lot of people probably would not think of, and we go the extra mile in making sure that we are accessible and putting the events in place that allows us to be reachable and to be seen in the constituency. So for young candidates like myself, and I use the term young candidates not in age, but young candidates in the fact that we are first timers, such as myself, like like Jamal and Dale and and Ramon. We learning from and being around peer persons like Quincy. We learn a lot in regards to what is needed in regards to that outreach and how to connect with our constituents. So the Democratic Labour Party has been listening to our constituents. It's just for we realize that there's a situation where that it seems like the Barbados Labour Party they commit certain transgressions and they're given a pass. While the Democratic Labour Party, there's something that comes out and then people are like, see what I tell you, the Democratic Labour Party aren't ready. But I would just like that everybody, in regards to the two parties to at least judge us fairly and give us the same balance, the same way you would judge us, judge the other persons who present themselves to you, because there are so many missteps that were made by the Barbados Labour Party. So many. And we could start as far back as when they were talking, when it was the survey in regards to the sexuality of minors, to the terrorizing of the girls from Springer, to all of the legislation that was brought forth that was out of touch and tried to basically depress the people of Barbados, the lack of transparency, in regards to the lack of Carifesta figures, the lack of investigation of hope. These are things that was promised by the Barbados Labour Party that have not been given to the people. So if you're going to hold us to a certain standard, then you need to hold the Barbados Labour Party to that standard as well. So and then there's certain things that we need to also look at as in regards to campaign financing and what is done in regards to how these people tend to win their votes. And I'm not even going to go too much into that. But really and truly, though, I think that we as a Democratic Labour Party, we have been listening and we have been trying to show the people that yes, we hear you, and we're trying to show you that we are listening and that we're trying to present ourselves as persons of integrity and that we will do what it is that you expect of us. But right now we think that there is this unfair view in regards to the way the Democratic Labour Party is judged, and that has to change, because there's no way that there should have been another 30 love, given the amount of missteps that this government has made. So it goes to show you that something is definitely off, something is wrong, something is wrong with our electoral process, and we have to bring it back to the standards of where that there is a fair balance between the two parties, or even all the parties that present themselves to the people, and show that one party cannot curry this unfair favor at the disadvantage of others.
But can I pause you there, because what you and I want to address this, right? Look at this screen, guys, all of you guys that are on, and Dr. Ferdinand, look at what Gilbert Perry has said. Now we have this intelligent man sitting here in his living room and speaking to us in such with such emotional intelligence and explaining something to us. And Gilbert Perry is saying this young man There are over 1,251 of you watching. And Gilbert Perry is saying this intelligent young man has physically and mentally checked out. And I normally, I want to, I normally, when they start this wait time, we just remove them. But I wanted to leave this here. I want to leave it here for you to understand what is going on with this, with Barbados and the Democratic Labour Party. I want to leave that comment right there. You believe that? Fellas, you don't have to say anything. The 1,278. You hear somebody on this show tonight, Mr. Fanos, sounding like he is physically and mentally checked out? This is the unfair. This is what happens. This is what they do to Mr. Thorne. It's almost like they do not believe that the DLP should ever survive and ever live. And that is one of the reasons that they call me and they put a bat, they say I am DLP, because I hate to see people do this to people. Gilbert Perry, you are wrong for what you're doing. Because you know it is not true. You know this is not true. There's nobody listening to this young man can say that he's physically and mentally checked out.
But you see, Marcia, when people have nothing to say, they tend to degenerate into nasty rhetoric. It's as simple as that. And that has been.
Ferdinand, I don't want to make it as I know that simple as I want to bring this. It's exactly what Mr. Fanas is speaking about. Is what Gilbert is doing to Mr. Fanas tonight. And let me tell you, no matter what is said, these people go away with these things in their head. And it never changes. They keep them there. Once it has to do with the DLP, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. You don't even have to respond, Damien. You don't even have to respond. Let's go to what are your plans? Let's tell me. You didn't get to tell us your plans to your constituency. What's going to happen now, Damien?
Well, what's going to happen now is that I'm going to continue to canvass inside the constituency. There are other places that I've not been able to touch because of the short amount of time that I would have been given during the electoral process. All like Goodland and Graceland, those areas that I've not been able to touch. I need to show the people that I want to be a constant presence inside of the constituency, and I want to listen to their issues and ask and ascertain what level of representation they need. Where is it that they feel that there's a lacking in the representation they're getting from the Barbados Labour Party? And through that type of canvassing, then I can formulate my action plan. Being that I've only been in the constituency maybe a little more than a month, I need to continue my canvassing. And when I continue my canvassing with my team and we get all the information that we need and collate it, then I know that I can form an action plan that best suits them. I just want to show them that I will be a constant presence in St. Michael West, and then anything from there we can form the necessary, the necessary plans and the necessary outreach to show them that there is more to just than just right and ready, because that's all it is. Right and ready is just a saying, a coin slogan or whatever it is. Because there are people who I've talked to and said that they've not seen the presence of the Barbados Labour Party in their constituency. Mm-hmm. They've not. There are people that need help. There are people who are saying that the roads are bad. Their houses need help. The most vulnerable need help. They're older people. Older people are elderly who are in the constituency who need assistance, and they are not getting it. And there's no way that for 7 years over, with two representatives, that these things could not have been addressed. I'm not saying that you can't solve every single problem, but there are people that are telling me that they don't see any action at all. And it feels as if, like, because you are not part of a particular you don't vote red, they feel left out. And that is what I want to change. And I've told people all the time, whether you vote for me or not, I don't care. I will represent you.
That's
I
how it's
don't care.
supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be.
That's right.
They're telling me that they see the representative go out one house and skip the next. That is not that is not good. That ain't good at all. So I want to show them I don't care. Even if I go to your door and I knock your door and you cuss me, I will say, well, at least I was here. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you need any help, call me. You know what I mean? Call me. I will help you. I will help you whatever way I can. So that is the type of politics, that's the type of representation I want to get back to. I want to bring a type of representation that has never been seen before in St. Michael West. Even if you go back to the days of Branford Tate, I want to excel beyond Branford Tate because he is the standard that we all live up to. And I want to excel beyond that. I want to excel
Excellent.
that. So basically, that's the plan for my constituency right now.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Damien. Let me go to Jamal. Jamal, let me talk with you. And as somebody says, these are young people, and I know what it is to step up and step out to do something. In a country that sometimes people can be so hard and harsh. We would have just heard the circumstances under which Mr. Panos had to be put in as a candidate. Those are real circumstances. One person left the party completely and he would have to be put in, and yet still such harsh criticism. This is a young man that almost died in a car crash with his entire team. All four of them, his campaign manager, his advisor, all four of them. And there is no compassion. There's no understanding. This man is putting himself out to lead and to serve. And you being the youngest in the lot, I want to ask you tonight, sir, what are your plans going forward? I know that it's only Wednesday that election ended, and it might be unfair to ask you that because you're probably trying to sleep right now and to get yourself.
I can answer. I can
Yeah, go
answer.
on.
Here's the truth, right? The truth is this. My campaign was ran clean and grassroots oriented. And I'm continuing to do that. I'm going to continue to meet people. I'm going to continue to raise awareness. I'm going to continue to problem solve. Especially where the youth are concerned, where the elderly are concerned. And I'm going to also try to help decrease the unemployment rate. So I'm going to be trying to make sure that all these chronic issues which people face are resolved. So even though I'm not going to be in office, I'm going to be acting as though I'm in office. So everywhere in which I can help people, I'm going to be helping people.
Excellent.
And that's what I can say at this time.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. And just let me just know that is not a constructive criticism. That is what you said about this young man on the show tonight is not a constructive criticism. Somebody else asked, and I missed it, and I'm deliberately dealing with it tonight because it's not right what you are all doing. Somebody said. Yes, Gilbert. That's not constructive. Somebody made a list of things that the DLP needs to be doing for the next time around. No, that is constructive. You understand? To say, well, I didn't think that you guys promoted enough and you didn't do this enough. That's constructive. You understand? Somebody who said, Fanos, well, there's somebody who said, Fanos, provide some statistics of what you're saying. That is constructive. But to speak like that to somebody that they've checked out, I think it's unfair, and
It's
that's
very
not
disingenuous.
However, he has apologized, and I think we should take that. Fanas, I hope you take that. Fanas is shaking his head and saying yes. And I want to address it because what is being done to our young people, to DLP, is wrong, and especially to our young people. And I'm telling you, as long as God gives me breath in my body, I am not going to sit by and then let you do anything like that to these young people. Not as long as I have a platform and I'm alive. Let's get back to one of my favorites here.
Marcia, just before you go to your favorites, We have for a long time been critical of young people in this country. And when they step up, especially in an environment that as hostile, if you can put it that way, as politics, we should be even if they don't succeed, we should be doing all in our power to encourage them and to stand with them, because for the last several years we've done nothing but criticize them. We've seen them being shot, we've seen them involved in criminal activity, all kinds of things going on. Now you have some young men who are stepping up, and young women, if I may add, because there were some young women involved in the campaign as well, stepping up to the plate to present themselves as an alternative in the country. We should be encouraging this instead of trying to pull them down. And may I note, I took the time to do a little bit of research on almost every one of the candidates to find out what their professions were, because I really was not familiar with them. And I'm finding lawyers, accountants, I'm finding people who are highly educated. These are not stupid people. These are intelligent people, and when you listen to them speak, you can hear an articulate young individuals coming forth from them. And so I want to commend them.
I think that's wonderful, and it's not just them here, but you have young people within all of the parties.
Yes.
And you made a very good point there, Doctor. We see them dead on the streets all the time. Today alone, there was a shootout here in St. Philip, and especially with young men. And so they're going to hear from me if they keep doing this with these guys. I'm not standing for it. But let me get to my Jamal here. Jamal, you were making you were telling us what you were planning to do, and I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, my son.
No, it's perfectly fine. Now, as I said, I want to run a clean grassroots campaign. My aim is to improve the quality of life for every single resident, whether you vote, whether you don't vote. And my reason for this is, well, as I said before, I got drawn to politics because I'm a problem solver. And I noticed how much problems they're having within this particular constituency. A lot of people have been telling me why they didn't run in my home area. But I ran within this area because I saw the issues within this area, how bad they really were since 2022. And I noticed that through all the red and ready, through all the steady course, nothing has improved in a lot of these areas. Nothing has improved.
Yes, that's right.
And people keep asking me how, especially within the Democratic Party, right? How people keep looking at us and asking what we can do something apart from Arabaro's legacy. But I think that's what they're going to see shortly. They're going to see that these young candidates, these first-time candidates, are going to start building legacy in which it lights that you've never seen before. And the truth is that we got into this not for fame, not for money, not for glory, but to help people, to do a change, a positive change in people's lives. That is why I'm here. That is why, even though I know the odds of me removing her from her seat were only going to be quite low, but I said if there's any chance we're going to take it, I'm not going to wait that she goes. If I could move her, I'm going to move her. If I could get you to do things, I'm going to get her to do things. If I get the authority to do things, I'm going to do things. I'm not going to wait until somebody place something in your hand. And a lot of people said after she made the comment, after she made the call to me after the elections, that you got to be careful, the Barbados, the party know how to poach young people and so on. But if that's the intention, I'm going to say it here. You'll be wasting your time. I came to the Democratic Party because I know the principles of which we stand, and I can see where we are going. It's not going to be easy. Some things have to get bad before they get better. But the key is to make sure that they get better and they go on the right trajectory to the future. So the future is not 10 years away. The future is from tomorrow. And that is why you're working steadily to increase the commitment, to create the connection that we have with these constituents, so that when the next election comes, they know how much commitment and service we have done with them, so they know what they could expect from us when we get into office and when we get a seat within Parliament.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, yeah, fantastic. I believe I've asked everybody what their plans are for their constituency. I believe so. I think Ramon, I did, right?
Yes, you did so from the get-go, from early
Yes,
on.
I did ask you. Yes, I remember that. Now, there's a question here that I want to ask you guys, and then For those of you who can hang on, if you can hang on, you could. We're going to ask people to call in to the program and just ask you a few questions. If I know, if you can't stay, you can't stay. I know you have a lot going on, but I know some of the people might want to ask you a few questions. So let me ask you this while they're preparing. The voter turnout was again very low. There is a big debate on what the percentage is, you know, of the voter turnout. We don't know yet because somehow the EBC has not produced the final number of persons who voted so that we can get the percentage. What I mean, it's going to be important that you get a large voter turnout, you know, in order for you to be successful. How do you solve that? Any one of you can go first. How do you solve that problem? This is where this is constructive. This is constructive, guys. Right? Anybody want to answer that? Go right ahead. Open your mic and go ahead.
Just to confirm, Marcia, you're asking us how you feel about the voter turnout.
The voter turnout, and how as a candidate you think you can solve that problem, because the voter turnout right now seems to have been pretty low. How do you really solve that problem?
I want to tell you the honest truth. Voter turnout for me, or voter apathy to me, is coming from, well, I was just saying election fatigue. In other words, so much elections were
That's
called
interesting.
in 10 years,
Hmm.
right? In 10
Interesting.
years. So it
Election
gets just
fatigue.
people to feel like, you know what? Like what is the point? Elections come in and then you're not seeing improvement within the quality of life of Barbadians. You're saying, oh, there's money coming into the country, and you're not seeing improvement in life of Barbadians. And I also believe that when you take everything into account, right, in terms of the stats, because they keep saying if the stats are wrong, right, you're going to get wrong information all across the board, all across the board. So for me to get people to feel like voting, we should have the dates for elections set in stone. We should know that 5 years from now, there will be elections. And that way people know, okay, well, I'm going to judge how things are going in the country for the 5 years which is supposed to be. And then on the day of the election, you might find people more liable to vote because they had 5 years of analyzing instead of two, three, well, three going for here, and then money being thrown around here, and candidates only getting two weeks to campaign, 2 weeks before elections are called, and all of
Yeah,
these things throw
subventions
people
being
off,
denied. Subventions being
right?
denied
And it
too.
just
Recall that.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
that is an understatement. We have not received any subvention within the
yeah,
last few years. So what I'm saying is that, listen, they need to have the dates set in stone, because once the dates are set in stone, people have 5 years of analyzing, and look at it. Years ago, when elections become more spaced out, we have like elections 5 years apart, you will find that the voter turnout was higher then than it is of today. And the last few elections, I mean, let's be honest, in 2022, it was just the ending of COVID. It was people still wearing masks, and they had elections when it didn't have to be at that time. We could have go at least a year further. So when you're seeing this lack of turnout, it's because of circumstances, but more importantly, the elections are too frequent. And that is what it would say.
yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Jamal, on that. Is there Fanos or um um Ramon, is there any Goodman, any ideas, any thoughts of how this can be solved? Mike?
You go ahead, Fanas, or I can go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Go
I
go
think
right ahead.
I think we have to show a clear difference, that there's a difference between the two parties, the Democrat Liberal Party and the Marxist Liberal Party. I think the apathy is coming from people that are saying that both parties are the same, and we need to educate the people to let them know that the philosophies are totally different. The Democratic Liberal Party has always been a party of the people. Always been a party who looks after the ordinary Barbadian, and we need to educate people some more. Jamal would have mentioned voter fatigue, and I could agree with that as well too. I believe that the value of voting has gone down significantly because of the amount of times that people have to go to the polls. So I can agree with it. So it's a bit of both. We must show the difference between the two parties in terms of philosophy. Yes, we've been preaching it, but we got to do a bit more. We have to do more one-on-ones. We have to do more on the groundwork, along with obviously, as we mentioned before, the voter fatigue. There is voter fatigue. I believe so in a serious way.
Yeah,
If you go
yeah,
into the poll, there's no value now. The value
yeah.
has gone
It's
down
nothing,
significantly.
nothing.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let me hear.
yes.
Thank you. Let me hear from Mr. Fanos if he has anything to share there.
Yes, I will echo the sentiments of my colleagues, especially Jamal. There is voter apathy, but more especially there is voter fatigue. You cannot have three elections in 7 years. You cannot. It makes absolutely no sense, because then when you're telling people I have a mandate, and then you cut that mandate short and then bring another manifesto that speaks to another mandate, and you have a completely the one before that, it tends to make people to check out, you know? And I think that where we as the Democratic Labour Party have to show that we are where we have to connect those bridges now back to our supporters and the independents, and even more those tired BIP voters, is that we need to let the young people lead. We need to let young people come out and say, well, listen, the party needs to support those young voices who are putting themselves forward. Those persons like Jamal, those persons like Ramon, those persons like Dale, those persons like Quincy. It is we need to push these young people forward. And this isn't saying that older elder persons who would have been in the party from day one, that they don't have value. It is stating that we need to show that, listen, there is a connection. There is this we're not connecting with our supporters anymore, and it seems like they need to see an entire sea change in regards to the Democratic Labour Party. That doesn't mean changing the institution. It just means that you need to connect with them where they think that, okay, this is different, and we can get on board with this because this is new, and you're listening to young people, because it seems like young people now are what are driving these elections. And if you can show that we are going to put the young people first, their voices first, then maybe you can also connect with those older voters as well, and maybe we can bring them back into the fold. And I'm not opposed to connecting with other members who might have gone out of the fold and then come back in. I'm not opposed to that either, because right now we have a situation where a Barbados Labour Party they've taken our electoral process and cheapened it. They've brought so many elections in X amount of
Hmm.
years that
Yes.
it makes no sense anymore. People are
No
telling themselves,
value.
what's the point? So now we have to think outside the box, and no type of solution should be pushed off the table, because I believe that the young men that I've
Wow.
connected with, Dale, such as Jamal, such as Ramon, and others, they do have the Democratic Labour Party at heart, and we haven't checked out mentally or physically. We are in for the fight, because we know that we are about the working class, we are about the middle class, and we are about those who are under that. So, people, we are here for the long haul. We are here for the long haul, and we will get it right,
Yeah.
regardless of what other people think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Fantastic.
I'm going to see if Quincy is available. Quincy, you seem stuck. Yeah. Quincy, let me know if you're able to come back in. Yes, we're talking about as he gets himself. Yeah, we're talking about voter apathy. How do we solve that? How do you solve that in your constituency? Quincy, you're there? Yes, go right ahead. Unmute, yeah.
Um,
we have to first do awareness back in our schools and um, letting the public know the importance of voting. I think we need to start with education first, um, because people need to understand the history of voting and why voting has come about and why it's important that they cast their vote for whatever direction they want to. So we definitely have to pay attention to this voter apathy. Um, One side did more party, and the other side was more on policy, and still the voters in those categories did not come out to cast their vote. So we really need to pay attention to this. This is something serious, um, and we have to educate first, and then from there we need to bring in persons of their young people especially to go into the political parties and understand what their philosophies are and stuff like that. But we have to educate first.
Yes, yes, somebody else in the chat said, educate, educate.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen. It is almost 9 o'clock, and okay, I'm just reading some of the comment. I didn't get any questions coming in, but we did use some of what we were hearing from from the comments as well. And so I just want to say thank you to you all for joining us tonight. And I know you all are tired, but you took the time out to be here. We are now going to go into just this is for the viewers. What we're going to do, we're going to bring some of the discussion that's been happening on my page, on the Marcia Reed Facebook page, about the crossing over. And I'm not going to get these young men into all of that, but we're going to bring that discussion in here right now. So don't leave. But just to say a big thank you to each and every one of you for joining us this evening. And you're going to hear from us. We call ourselves the Loyal Opposition. We're from different people here from different countries, and very soon you're going to hear from us, and we want to be in support of you. Dawn Marie could not attend, very tired, she told me, but she has a lot of plans for her constituency as well. She's not giving up. She wants you to know, Loyal Opposition, she's not giving up. And we're going to keep praying for you and be a listening ear. Always reach out to us, okay? I'm serious. I'm not just telling you that. Reach out to us if you need help, need guidance. I mean, you do have a lot of that in the party already, but if you need any kind of support, we want to be there for you. There's somebody who sent something on behalf of Dale. I didn't see him. Dale was supposed to join us. But he says the young man who ran in the city by me, Mr. Rowe, did a lot for the people in Nelson Street, Chapman Street, Greenfield,
Yes,
Pickwick,
yes.
Gap, and so on, right? He says this is atrocious, right? He said that Lashley from Lost only get nominated a few days before election was called and had no time to canvass the entire area, but he got most of the vote. And he said, man, what the hell? He lives in a community. This shows favoritism towards the Mia Motley and not even the candidate. Mr. Rose spent his hard-earned money on children, families, the less fortunate. During summertime, with back to school, during Christmas, he was around. What did Lashley do to get all those votes? Nothing. Not fair at all. And he said, you can speak about this on your show. I am watching. Well, I did speak about it. Yeah. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you so
Good
much. Thank you
night.
for
Thanks a
sharing
lot,
the time.
Marcia.
Yes. God bless you. God
Bless
bless
you.
you. God
Bless
Thanks
you.
bless you.
all.
God bless
Bless you,
you.
love.
Bless you. Bless you. Wow. The future is bright, Dr. Ferdinand.
Absolutely, Marcia. As I sat here listening to these young men speaking, I couldn't help but think, I have children myself at this age, and I can tell you that their perspectives are not the same as mine, as what ours used to be. They're looking very seriously at who's going to fulfill what they say. One of the criticisms I heard coming from them was that, you put in one party, you take out, you put in another party, they don't do what they say, they make these promises and they don't keep them. Well, our young people, our millenniums and our generation Z or whatever they call themselves, are not prepared to have that happening anymore. They expect now that when you say you're going to do something, you had better do it, or they're going to simply dismiss you. And unfortunately, we did not see that forthcoming in this general election, because there was a litany of things that this administration simply did not do. And on the basis of just the parliamentary representatives standing on their own, I would dare say that they would have lost the government. But you see, in every instant, people voted for Mia Motley. They did not vote for the candidate in their constituency. And that is why it is so important for us to be paying attention to the individuals who are supposed to represent you. The constituents are their bosses, and they're supposed to represent those people, whether they're D or B. Once the election is over, you are the representative for the constituency, and we'll wait to see if there's going to be any change where that perspective is concerned. Because I can tell you, Marcia, here in St. George North, I'm still looking to see what the representative for the BLP has done of any significance in this entire constituency. I can think of two things, and that's about it. You're muted, Marcia.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
Very
that's
well
quite
said.
okay.
Very well said, Mr. Dr. Ferdinand. Well, we're gonna change gears right now, and we're gonna be talking about floor crossing and the constitutional change. Floor crossing, and we want this to be clear, because sometimes these things are discussed, and sometimes these things are discussed, and people are making comments. I see them on social media, and really and truly, they don't even understand the issue that is at hand. So what I did, those of you who know me, I am a person, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to research. I am going to make sure I understand what it is I'm saying. And if I don't, as often happens, somebody might bring a correction to me, and then I'm able to make those changes. So I listened to Lynette Eastman, who is a lawyer. I also listened to Donville Innes, past parliamentarian, for 10 years. I spoke with lawyers and I looked at the Constitution for myself. All right. I went ahead and I did a post on Facebook. And I'm looking at the post now. Just give me a moment to check the post, because I will tell you how many views the post has had since I was able to put it up. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to just locate it in real time. Now, this is a post. How many of you, give me a thumbs up if you saw this on my page? How many of you saw this particular thing on my page? Okay. As of it's not even 2 days I've put it up as yet, and it's almost 34,000. Almost 34,000 views on this particular post, and it's growing. When you look at the you can see the it's growing. Yes. And I want you to go on and to make your own comments on the page. Right? That's a graph of it there. That's the number. Let me show you the number. So over 33,763. Okay? That's the number of views. It was also copied and put out on YouTube, put out on WhatsApp, and that particular post. And that post came from research, not from being partisan, not from plain research, sitting down and reading. And I just want to, if Dave would go to the top of it, and I can also read it on my phone as well. And thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. It's on the Marcia Week Show Facebook page, and I need you all to go and make sure you like that page right now, folks. We're doing everything to stay strong and to stay the course. They're going to try to say who we are. Okay, already they have started, and I'm going to address that a little later. But I wrote, very interesting. I listened to a very informative audio and recording of both Lynette Eastman and Donville Innes rebutting the PM's proposed changes to the crossing of the floor of MPs. I then did my own research by speaking to other lawyers and examining the relevant sections of the Constitution for myself. Below is a summary of my findings and opinions. Under the Constitution of Barbados, you vote for an individual, not a political party. The ballot paper carries a name, not a party mandate. The Constitution recognizes members of Parliament, not political parties. This is not opinion. This is not my opinion. This is constitutional reality. Now, we're being told that if an MP changes political affiliation, they must vacate their seat. The question is, on what constitutional basis? Remember, I would have just, based on what I learned from Lynette, I learned from Mr. Innes, from the lawyers, from reading the Constitution, outlined to you what the Constitution says. Okay? Freedom of association is a protected right. They don't want that to be in Barbados. They want to punish you because you say you are part of the DLP. All of a sudden, you're punished. But freedom of association is a protected right, and this government needs to remember that. That includes the right to associate or disassociate politically. An elected member of Parliament does not surrender constitutional rights upon election. Simple. If you forced an MP to lose their seat because they no longer align with a party, you are not clarifying democracy, you are redefining democracy. Mm-hmm. You shift the mandate from the individual elected by constituents to the political party, even though the Constitution, Dave, if you could move that, please. The Constitution does not recognize parties as holders of seats. That is not housekeeping. As they said, oh, they're going to make a little change to the Constitution. You're talking about a structural constitutional change. The Prime Minister says this is about accountability, but accountability cannot override constitutional principle. If Barbados is to formally recognize political parties in the Constitution for the first time in our history, that requires full national debate. It requires a legal scrutiny by the legal luminaries and possibly a referendum, which we know this government, this particular government, don't do those kinds of things, don't do referendums. You cannot rush fundamental constitutional reform simply because one side has the numbers. Having 30 seats does not erase constitutional limits. The Constitution is still the supreme law of Barbados, not a political instrument to be adjusted for convenience. If reform is necessary, bring it properly, Madam PM. Debate it openly, Madam PM. Test it legally, Madam PM, but do not pretend that changing the nature of representation in this country is a minor amendment. Barbadians deserve clarity, not shortcuts. And this is a post that has been seen in less than 2 days, over 30, almost 34,000 times views. And Dave, if we could go up and look at some of the comments. Thank you. Some of the comments, right? Michael Bradshaw said, wait a minute, Bosie, what constitution? Meaning saying we don't have one, but you know we do. Michael Bradshaw says, I think the BLP should explain to the public what kind of republic this is, where they have discontinued the monarchy, but still want to use people garbage, amended, outdated constitution. But how is that legal? Under what legality to do so? This is confusing, please. Please help me understand the rhetoric. Welcome to the political class, sponsored by Frondelia, whatever that is, I don't know. Roger Hercules says, it is also my opinion that our 59-year constitution is a very deeply entrenched supreme law by both convention and statute, and by the use of the word shall. The head of state is duty bound by that deep constitutional entrenchment to uphold the said constitution, appointing a leader of the opposition along with a number of senators, and they go on. Let me go up, Dave. Let me just find an opposing view. Somebody said, okay, back to Lambert. There's nothing wrong with going back to the people, and if the people want you, they will vote for you again. It happens with Don Blackman, but the people should have a say. When the person went to be instead, it was him versus another, that the people pick him on party. If today he doesn't like that party, then he or she should come back and let the people decide. We must remember it was not singular, but plural. When elections are being called, it is. So he's basically agreeing with the Prime Minister. I think I made a, Dave, if you go down and you see, if you go up, continue to read, yes. Okay, right there. Click on my name, the Marcia Reed Show replied, and let me show you the reply that I gave him. And I said, I understand to go back to the people, which is a lot of what the people are saying, argument. On the surface, it sounds fair. But here's the issue. Our constitution does not say a seat belongs to a party. It says the people elect a member of parliament for a term. Yes, elections are plural. Government is formed by a majority, but each constituency elects one individual to represent them, not a party contract that expires if political alignment changes. You cannot operate under one system during elections and impose another after. And remember, today, you may want a by-election for someone crossing to the other side. Tomorrow, it may be your MP standing on principle against their own party. What about that? Constitutional rules must protect structure, not just punish movement. If we're changing the system, let's do it transparently and completely, not piece by piece. That's the real point there. Dr. Ferdinand, before I continue, any thoughts on that? You would have seen this, and I think you made a comment on it. Any thoughts that you want to make there?
Well, again, Marcia, several things that you pointed out there are very pertinent and very relevant. First of all, there is no recognition of either political party in the country, period. This is not just constitutionally or parliamentary or otherwise. They're not registered. The Ministry of Intellectual Property does not have a record. If I wanted to take legal action where a matter is concerned, I cannot take legal action against either the BLP or the DLP because under the legal position in the country, they do not exist. I would have to take legal action as it relates to the individuals. And again, you know, I have made a reference to this when I foisted the idea of independent candidates running in Barbados, and I made the point that in Parliament there are 30 independent candidates. There is no BLP and no DLP in the Barbados Parliament. So that if you're going to seek to implement legislation to prevent a elected representative crossing the floor, it cannot be done under a party perspective because it's not recognized. It would have to be done on an individual perspective. Then, if you're going to implement the aspect of the party, endorse what you have shared, Marcia, concerning the fact that is something that should be taken to the people. And the people should enter into discussion and dialogue with regards to it. And I would expect that the legal luminaries would be able to advise us and guide us where that is concerned. But you can't come and and let's be real, Marcia, the reason this matter is being foisted by the Prime Minister is because we have now had, I think it would be three defections that would have affected the party: Atherley, Caswell Franklin, and Ralph Thorne. And it is something that created, no pun intended, a thorn in her side. And as a result of that, you now want to try to prevent that from happening. But you cannot overrule, and you make mention of the Barbados Constitution, but the International Charter, the Charter of Human Rights, Marcia, also makes provision for freedom of association. And so you can't tell these people when they're in Parliament who they have to affiliate with. If they don't like what is going on, that they can't leave you and oppose you. And what I would say, and it's something out of respect that I would say, is that they probably should return to their constituents, hold the meeting, and express why you are taking the step. And I'm sure that the people in the constituency would be amenable to it, but it cannot be done in this manner. We don't have a Republican constitution. You can't have the matter raised and there is no provision for the parties in the constitution. The reality is that people vote in Barbados, regrettably, by party and not by individual. And they very often also vote within the context of leader. If it's the David Thompson with Owen Arthur, Tom Adams with Errol Barra, people look at the leadership of the party as well, and they vote within that context. But Marcia, it should be very concerning, rather than engage in this aspect. What the Prime Minister should be really paying attention to is how has she lost such tremendous support from Barbados Labour Party supporters? Because we are talking only about the Democratic Labour Party, but if even by stretch of the imagination, 41% of the people voted, it would mean that they would have got, even if they get 70, 75% of the vote, they would have got around 30% of the electorate, the lowest in the history of the country, which does not give you a mandate. A mandate is where the majority of the people support you. And Marcia, I don't know if you would recall, in the past elections, we would have a division between the political parties, like 56 to 44 when we end the election, and a significant number of the electorate would have voted within that context. Today, we have over 169,000 people, Marcia, who did not contribute to this election. That
Yeah.
should concern the Prime Minister.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And I sat down today and I said, some of this talk about constitution and the crossing of the floor, and a political party, whether it's individual, because when we go to vote, you see the name of the person there, on the ballot box, on the ballot. It's a name that you see. You don't see the party. And but some people still, they don't understand it, what is happening. And I thought, I had a little scenario to put to everybody, which I think that it will help us to understand it a little better. So everybody, just listen up here. It might sound a little funny, but I used to teach, and I thought about how can I make this more understandable. Right now, imagine if you go to the market to buy a mango from a vendor? Anybody love mango? Who love mangoes? Right? I like mangoes, especially those big Julie mangoes, right? So you go to the market to buy a mango from a vendor, nice and juicy mango. The vendor on the day you went to buy the mango is wearing a blue shirt. You like blue shirts, yeah. You trust blue shirts, but you know you like the mango. You buy the mango because really you went there to buy the mango. 2 years later, you see the same vendor, but now the vendor is wearing red, and then you start shouting, "Excuse me!" Right? And you decide to give back the mango. Think about that. Yeah? The vendor is now wearing red, right? Did you buy the mango or did you buy the shirt? And that's basically the debate. Did you buy the mango or did you buy the shirt? Or it's like if you're doing a game, right? You're in the middle, you're doing a game, and you know, people are winning and things are happening, and then midway into the whole thing, you decide that, you know what? I'm gonna change the rule of the game. And basically that is what is happening. But they can't say anything. They can't say anything because a lot of them, you know, they're in there, and we know that they don't speak, but this is taking away their, all 29 of them is taking away their right, their right to associate, right? Their constitutional right is, that is basically what it is saying, right? You know, yes. Over to you, Dr. Ferdinand.
Well, no, you've quite clearly articulated it, Marcia, and that is the whole thing. You know, if I'm not in everything I'm involved in, I have a right to associate or disassociate, even within the realms of religious environments, churches, organizations. If I am not happy with the particular direction or philosophy or morality or something of that nature, I have a choice to make. I either stay with it or I leave. And I think that you know, until we see proper representation being made where constituencies are concerned, I don't think the argument holds water. If potholes were being fixed, electricity was being added, pit toilets were completely removed, housing was addressed, I could understand us probably engaging this process. But you don't see a representative in a constituency except at election time. They rarely are in the constituency, even on occasions when you have constituency meetings of the party. Sometimes they don't even attend those meetings. So why are you going to come now and try to suggest that you know, if you want to change your position or you are not happy, you're not in agreement with X, Y, or Z that the party is going, you have to go back to the constituency. You know, it seems to me somewhat hypocritical. And I would just simply say that, to my mind, I would like to see a Republican constitution first before all of this lot of long talk. We don't
Agree.
have it. Let's get the constitution in place.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What I find is that they are very, yes, you're right. They're very aggressive online. The BLP supporters, you can't have any proper debate. They want
No,
to
they're very nasty.
grade into, you know, calling you all kinds of things.
Oh, yes.
Let's have a discussion. Why we can't have a discussion? Why we can't disagree? Why we can't agree or agree to disagree? Right? Yes, somebody's, you're right, one shorty. You could have a nice debate with a little banter. Now they want to beat you, literally. They're so aggressive and believe they have a right to be that way. And I'm here to let you know that you're not going to get that pass. That's not going to
No,
pass by.
no.
You're not going to bully me.
You know,
Yeah.
Marcia, let me just share something with you quickly. You know, on one of my posts. This is one of the responses I got, and I have to be very cordial but firm, because
Yeah.
it would be expected of me within the role that I carry. But don't expect that I'm going to roll over and play dead. That is not going to happen with Ferdinand Nichols. I am going to fight you, because that is in not only in my nature, it's in my calling. I will fight you, but I will do so in a manner that will not disrespect you as a human individual. I made a post concerning the matter to do with the elections and what you are discussing here. This is the response I got from an individual whose name I will respectfully not call. They said,
Well,
"You must
it's
have a,"
on Facebook. It's on Facebook. Just
he
so you
says
know.
to me,
Go
"You
ahead.
must have a good cardiologist. You and your bunch that bent on bringing down a government that's been elected in Barbados got a shock of your lives. The more you pull down, the more popular the prime minister become. People like you who engage in mud throwing. Mind you, I'm dealing with facts." And so my response was simply, so when we state the facts, we are mudslinging. That's the nasty rhetoric that they are capable of bringing. They cannot have a logical discussion or debate. You get
Right.
called nasty names and you get things slung at you. I am not tolerating that one iota. And I am going to say to anybody, if you throw those kind of things at me and you are disrespectful to me, I will block you, unequivocally block you, because I will not have anybody disrespect me when I'm simply attempting to have a cordial discussion on a matter. I will not have it.
Yeah, I find, as somebody said, they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to think. And
Exactly.
that is the problem. I was I was told by somebody very reliable that there's another talk show that has just started, and that they said that this show is a right wing something something. No, and why would you start to do that? We do not have an opposition in Barbados, and all of us should be working together. That show, this show, and all the other shows. Why are you fighting me? Why are you fighting this show? Why should I fight your show? It's not necessary. We should be working together instead of turning the guns on each other. And that's the problem that we have. You're not going to hear me come on here and I'm going to criticize somebody else's show. If they say something, I would say, but that's not correct. You need to correct it. That's different than to now put a branding on somebody's show because you believe now that you want to promote yours. But that's not nice. And that does not help help the situation where we have in Barbados. We all need all the voices. So let's not tear down each other. And that is so important. And as far as we're concerned, there's nobody that's going to shut us up over here on the Marcia Week show. And you don't want to be you don't want to be criticized, but you put your thoughts out there on Facebook and nobody's to say anything to you. I put my thoughts out there. You start to call me all kinds of things instead of dealing with the topic. Yeah. Let us deal with the issue at hand. We do not have any opposition. Stop fighting. The civil society needs to come together, go walk hand in hand, work with each other. I didn't have any talks with Lynette Eastman. I didn't have any talks with Donville Innes. I had no discussion with them. They put something in the public, and I went and I put their pictures there, summarized what they said, and added my opinion to it. What did I do? I amplified what they said. That is what we need to do instead of being at each other's throat. And I'm not going to mention the name of that podcast because I don't want anybody here attacking them. And I'm not going to be attacking anybody's podcast. If something is done on the podcast that is against the people and it is wrong, there's an error in it, I will speak out about that. But I'm not going to tear down the person. Sheriff Veronica. A lot of you heard me compliment Sheriff Veronica on the show.
On occasions, I have, yes.
I have complimented her. You know why, Dr. Ferdinand? There are lots of people who cannot get what they want to be said in Barbados, and they know Sheriff Veronica will carry it for them. I know of a young man dealing with something there in St. George, and so on and so forth. That's as much as I could say. And there's a way I could deal with it, but there's a way Sheriff Veronica would be able to deal with it that would give that young man more satisfaction than I could, because I live here. So I'm not somebody who sits and watch Sheriff Veronica every day. No, absolutely not. But I'm not going to say that she's of no worth then. You follow me? And
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Sheriff Veronica is going to be very important in the informing part of this opposition, of where the people's voices matter, and she carries the people's voices. You and I might think that some of the things, a little outlandish, whatever. Some people come on this show and they don't like all that we say. You might hear some of what Chase File says and you don't like it either. And what David Davis and all of these different people, Bongo Lights and Bongo and Lumumba, you have my Rangate guy, all of these people. But listen, if we could all come together and decide to stand on the side of the people and do less tearing down of the people. You follow me, Mr.
Yes, absolutely.
We have
Absolutely.
more to deal with the government. Can't we see that? Barbadians, come on, let's be mature. Let's be mature.
And the thing is, Marcia, that very often in the midst of criticism, you can get direction and guidance. The one thing I remember former Prime Minister Arthur sharing with me on a couple of occasions when we encountered each other was that he said to me, I don't like yes people around me. I like people who will, examine what is going on, who will object, but object with common sense or with some substance. Don't object for the sake of objecting. And we have already mentioned it tonight here on the show, the whole aspect of criticism. It is not a case where you're criticizing for criticizing's sake. One of the best elements a leader could have access to is criticism, because it helps you to examine carefully what you are looking to do. And if there are others who can assist you, if there are other directions you can take, if there are other methodologies you can use, and that is where you find great leaders emerging, when they can take criticism and use it to the benefit of those that they're there to serve.
Yeah. And, somebody here saying that Sherry Veronica does not compliment me and she has nothing good to say about Thorn or DLP. Well, that's her business. All I'm saying is this, right? I am standing on principles, Doctor.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not going to use. I'm not somebody who sits and watch all of Sheriff Veronica's material. It's really not. A lot of it is not for me. But what I'm saying, does she provide an outlet for a lot of Barbadians to be able to get their grievances out? Yes, she does. For me to sit here and deny that, I would be lying. You understand? Can I recognize the work that if I say Rangate, everybody would know who I mean. Dunksman, Ryan, I call him by his right name. I need to start doing that. Dunksman does. Should I deny that? I can't, because I would be lying. There is some worth to what he does. Yes, he's a BLP, but does that mean I can't compliment him because he's BLP? Does that mean I can't compliment Chase Files because she is BLP? Do you see what I'm saying? So we're going to have to find all the things that we have in common, right? And to work with them. And if it is that you're creating a podcast and you're trying to find a space for yourself, you don't need to come and decide that you're going to criticize the Marcia Week show to find a space. That's not good. It's not going to work, because we have a track record on what we do.
Well, again, you see, Marcia, when you don't have something substantive to respond, you get dung in the gutter. When you don't have something substantively to discuss, you attack the person, the personality, the individual. If it is unfortunate that, and I must say, Marcia, we are seeing being introduced into our Barbadian environment a lot of North American woke mentality, where the people are trying to cancel you if you don't agree with them, stigmatize you, call you racist, call you homophobic, all kinds of things, because they don't have the capacity to have a substantive discussion on the facts and on the issues with you. And this is one of the things, that I take really very strongly, and even in terms, Marcy, of some of the things that some of my ministerial Christian leader colleagues have said, and some people who've been trying to attack me in terms of interpretation and theological interpretation. Listen, I'm a very simple person. If the word of God says something, I'm not going to get into a whole debate onto its context and its interpretation. I still believe what I used to believe in the old days. God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. I'm not going to get into whether it's for this body or that body or the next body. And I'll tell you the truth, Marcia, we saw more miraculous things in the past than we are seeing today. And we had that simple mentality.
Exactly. And this whole thing of why are we bringing this American thing in Barbados, right wing, left wing?
Yeah,
What is
where
that?
did that come from?
Where did that come from? Why are you doing that to your people? Why are you bringing that in our space? What is that? And when you see that on Facebook, you need to speak up against it.
I wonder even if they know what it is.
Let them know there's nobody over on this side. All we're going to do in the next couple of years, we are going to continue to educate. We're going to continue to motivate. We're going to mobilize. We're going to agitate. All right. And we are going to do all of this for civic society all over the world, wherever you're watching from, that you can rise up and you can stand up and speak truth to power. We will continue with our humanitarian work in Barbados, and we've stretched that to Kenya. You understand me? Well, that's what we're doing. We're focusing on people and educating, motivating, mobilizing, agitating. We don't need to take on that American thing. And Angela, you won't say it. I'm going to put the year in. It is since 2018 that we've started with this divisive kind of politics where I can't disagree with you. It's like you cannot have a sensible conversation without somebody starting to feel like what they tried to do with you. We've got to stop it. Yeah, they try. This is what they're trying to do. Actually, I do have the Praise Academy case, where our rights were violated and taken away. Here we go again. Ras, I see you. Can you turn down the device, Ras?
Okay.
Yes, turn on the right. We're going to come to you soon. Let me finish this point here. Ras, turn off the device completely, Ras. Thank you. Thank you so much. But I want to say to you that tomorrow there's a court case, again, for Praise Academy. And whether we are Christians or Rastas or whomever, our rights were violated. And if you want to call that right wing, shame on you. To be a Barbadian and you can't see that our rights were violated, shame on you. Shame on you. But let's hear from Ras. Ras, hey, good night, Ras. How are you?
Yeah, good night. I just want to say things.
Yes.
Starting number one. One of the problems that we are getting in Barbados is that we are being introduced to a new sense politics, what they call garrison politics.
Oh,
you
said garrison
understanding what's going on.
Yeah, you said garrison politics. Go ahead.
It is being introduced by people from Jamaica to Barbados. We've never had it before. It is a familiar thing in Jamaica. But I think you should know what I'm speaking about.
Yeah,
and you
very
should
much.
understand what I'm saying. If you look at the things that you're speaking of now, you would realize that this is the trend. That is why the politics in Barbados is getting so aggressive. Number one. Something that I want to speak about that nobody is speaking about is something that one of the observers that came to Barbados with this mission alerted people to. And this is it. Why are we in Barbados taking the boxes from all the different places and taking them, putting them on a van and carrying them to some place to count? A bus to count. Over the years, the votes were counted in the constituency, and the what they call them, the thing give you the counting and the result from the constituency. The people in Barbados begin to see that there's a very strange happening in Barbados with the amount of people that is voting in Barbados and the results that is coming out all the time. Why do we need to take the boxes from one place and carry them all about to count them? Why can't we have what was going on over the years, the results being announced from each constituency? Isn't there a strange happening in this country that nobody's waking up to see? If we are going to be so blind as not to use our eyes, just to us, there's none so blind as those who would not see. The time is now that we need to open our eyes and see. Because this is a weird happening. The results of the election, even the people who seem to be representing a specific party is saying to the Beijian people that is very strange, that they thought the other party would have got a couple of seats. Does that sound strange? How could you be feeling that they're going to get seats and nobody ain't getting none? Why are the boxes being taken hither and thither, and then a result that is coming is always, everybody is doubting it. Even the person who came here to observe made this a very serious reference on the charter. Would we people open our eyes and see what this man is saying? This man is saying something very serious, you know. I think we need to wake up. And if we wake up, we're going to realize what so many laws is coming. Because if you have all the seats, there's no reason to worry about who's changing from here. But we see it before. When it was Calvin Franklin, we had to get him out because his mouth was giving things so much privilege. Then it was the gentleman from the BLP that went over. We had to get him out. We had to get out from this church, so we had to say things of these people and get the people to brand him and different things. Now, Mr. Thorne, when we as a people can get together and brand a man that is successful, not only successful, but where education is concerned is very educated. Is it we realizing that there's no time for educated people? I sit down and hear a panel say that if you need to lead a party, you got to be able to keep parties. Wake up, black people. Wake up. Wake up and see that there's a force that encouraging people not to work, not to be ambitious, not to be nothing in Barbados. That's why we are falling down, you know. And we are bringing people from all over the world to tell the Beijian people that we should work. Wake up. Have a nice night.
Yeah. Good night. Good night. Thank you so much, Ross. That is so a very, very good comment. Very, very good comment. Go ahead, Dr.
Excellent. No, I fully agree with what he said, you know, and I want to make a point here very quickly, Marcia. I made reference to woke, and someone is trying to correct me on it. Woke has evolved. It wasn't originally intended to express what it is expressing today. Today, woke has evolved into a polarization, largely prejudicial term used by critics to describe oversensitive political correctness, cancel culture, or performing progressive ideology. And that is the reality that we have. There's no misuse on my part. I understand quite clearly what woke is. America is demonstrating that clearly. When you are going to look at a country that is seeking to close its borders and to make people go through the legal process of entering the country, and you want to see that opened up, that is woke mentality. When you are trying to impose the perspective of a fetus not being a human individual until they are come out of the womb, that is a woke condition today. That may not have been the original intent of the meaning of the word, but that is what it has become. And
Yeah.
the reality is that today we are living in an environment where anybody who stands at, incidentally, Marcia, right wing, the whole definition of right wing is actually quite positive. We have no need to apologize
Or
for
left
being right
wing.
wing.
You know what?
None,
My thing about this, Dr. Ferdinand, is that
none.
we are in this small country here. We cannot take on those terms and those labels from the US. And I've seen
No,
it being
no.
used. I've seen David Commission using those terms. I don't call anybody left wing. I don't call anybody right wing. Why are you doing that? And I am going to refuse those labels. I'm going to fight those labels, because those labels, that's colonial. That's coming from America. That you are taking those labels, right, and you're putting those labels on citizens that don't believe the same as you do, to create a divide in the country.
Correct. That is a
First person who
fundamental.
started this thing about right wing, and I'm not here to I'm not taking any of it. I'm not no
No,
right
I
wing.
agree.
I'm
And
not
I'm
no
not
left
taking
wing,
it either.
and I'm not saying which one is better than what. I'm not involved in it, because the truth of the matter is that it's not us.
Correct. Correct.
It's
It is
foreign
not
to us,
us. It is foreign to Barbadians. Absolutely
right?
foreign. I am not right wing because I disagree with you. We have persons of the LGB community, and because I disagree with you makes me right wing and you left wing. That's nonsense.
But
I
we have
simply disagree with you, and it doesn't mean, incidentally, Marcia, that because we disagree, that we hate one another. That's the other component that is very concerning to me, because when you hear persons who disagree, what we are now inciting is acts of violence and those kind of things toward the persons who we disagree with. So I really am not going to be supportive in any way, shape, or form with that. What I will say is that I have come to the point, Marcia, where there's certain expressions which, if people do not correct them, I will limit your access to my individual, because I must protect my spirit and I must protect my mind from those kind of influences. And as a result of that, I make some very straightforward decisions from a personal standpoint.
Yes, yes, yes. And we are not, we are, the elections are over, and this show, we are not fighting Barbadians. What we are going to do on this show, we are going to educate Barbadians. We're going to motivate, we're going to mobilize, we're going to agitate. We're going to take those bills, all the bills that are coming up, and we're going to educate Barbadians on that. Okay. And when we need to march, we're going to march. When we need to sign petitions, we're going to sign petitions. If educating, motivating, mobilizing, and agitating Barbadians make us whatever the name is, well, that's it. But that is what we are doing. You're never going to succeed in saying who we are, because I saw them do it. That this party, and those of you from the BLP are watching, you are to stop it. Stop labeling. What you do, you go ahead and you labels a whole set of lies on Front and Stewart and on the DLP, right? You started it on Atherley. You started it on Caswell Franklin. You're not so much now, because he's not doing much now. So know what? Take him back in. Yes. I'm not saying Caswell is back in. I'm saying that you have laid off of him. But you were creating memes on Caswell because he was not agreeing with you. Yes, you remember that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So you
Remember that
started
well.
with Mr. Thorne. And now you with Mr. Thorne, you've removed Mr. You have successfully removed Mr. Thorne, and you think You think in your small pea brains that you're going to come and remove me from here and the show. You have a wrong thing in your head, because you're going to kick against God. You're kicking against the pricks, because we are put here for a purpose, for the people of Barbados. And you need to stop it and let us work together. Enough of it. Enough of this nonsense. And we have a brother here. Let me look for him. He ran in the he was in the coalition party. Dave, I'm going to send you his picture here. We want to end with this. This brother, Dave, check your WhatsApp, Dr. Ferdinand. And this is this is what we do on this show. All right, for all Barbadians, BLP, whomever. We have gone to BLP homes of people and taken care of them without coming on here and saying that, okay? But there is this man, his name is Anthony Dominic Hines. Anthony Dominic Hines. Anthony Dominic Hines. Can somebody just write that in the chat for me? Everybody write his name down. He was a candidate. Can you write that in the chat for me, Dr. Ferdinand?
Yes. Please repeat again.
Anthony Dominic Hines. And we're going to keep
Anthony
on this
Dominic
every time.
Hines.
He wasn't feeling well enough to come on. He was a candidate in the coalition group there, right? The coalition parties. Okay. And yes, thank you. This is him. He's on Facebook. And he's having a challenge. He's not doing well. He's not well. And I want you to remember his name. Can you write down his name for me, please? Everybody, we're going to pray for him. He was with the coalition parties. And they reached out to me the night of the election, actually. When the election was on, they were doing the count. They reached out to me and asked me to promote this for them. That's what we do here. We are Barbadians. Yes, we are Barbadians. That's who we are. It doesn't matter the party. These are people I would have invited on the show. They didn't think they wanted to come, but I don't care. They called me and said, Marcia, this young man needs a board who administers the medical aid scheme at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to respond to his request for assistance. He needs some assistance from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital so that he could go overseas to do a medical procedure so he could live.
Jesus.
You think I'm going to be caring about what party he's from?
Yes.
You think I'm going to care about what happened before the elections and during the elections? We are Barbadians. When are we going to get that in our head? He needs to know that they have received this application and that they're processing it. Is there anybody who work in that area in QEH, the medical aid scheme, even if you're a nurse? Can you call me, please? Even if you are a nurse, can you call me, please? This is a life. This man, he couldn't even come on the show today. He has written the board who administers the medical aid scheme at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and he has not got a response for a request. He needs assistance so he could go overseas and get medical treatment. We've got to pray for him. Tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, we have prayer. We're going to pray for Dominic Hines, Anthony Dominic Hines. But what is important, can anybody reach out to me, please? Are you a nurse? Do you know anybody who administers the medical aid scheme at Queen Elizabeth Hospital? We are going to go to war for Dominic. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital, those who administer the medical aid scheme need to respond to this man. I really do hope that it's not political, please. And I know he's hoping that it's not political. I'm going to ask Dr. Ferdinand before we end the show to pray for this man. He needs the medical aid scheme at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to respond to his request for assistance. I think he's a lawyer too. Folks, everybody, write down the name and pray for him before you go to bed. Pray for him before you go to bed. We are going to war for Anthony Dominic Hines. He's a citizen of Barbados. He was part of the coalition of parties. And the government, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, the medical aid scheme division needs to answer this man. Please, can you please answer him? Anybody on here work at the hospital? Does anybody, we have 1,224 of you on here. Anybody work at the hospital? Call me, please. 236-7000. Dave, can you put up a number for me as Dr. Ferdinand prays? Let me make sure. Did we touch on everything?
As far as I can see, yes, we did. But this is very critical. This is very important. And we believe God can heal him, but we also believe that the Lord can grant him favor, and we can pray against any sabotage that may be existing in order to affect his well-being and his health by anyone. And I'm so grateful that God is able to do way above anything we can think or conceive in our minds. I'm happy as well that God can overturn the plans of hell, regardless of the instrumentality that they may be using. God can overturn it. The scripture says all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. And we're going to pray for Anthony right now, and we're going to believe God to heal him and to touch his body and to use whatever methodology and process he desires to use in order to restore him to health. So right now, Father, in the name of Jesus, as we look at this young man upon our screen, we thank you. You said in your word, you care for the sparrows, you care for the flowers, how much more value we are than they. And so, Lord, we lift Anthony to you tonight. We are uniting our minds, our hearts, and our spirits on his behalf. You said in your word, if 2 or 3 on earth agree as touching anything, it shall be done of your Father in heaven. Lord, tonight we agree. All 1,224 of us agree tonight. Marcia and I agree, Father, for you to intervene in this matter and to touch Anthony's physical body. Let healing flow through his body, Lord, from the crown of his head to the sole of his feet. Lord, we pray that even if you would use the medical profession to bring about that restoration and healing, that even now, Lord, whatever is standing in his way will be removed. Whatever spiritual influences are affecting people that will seek to sabotage to the expense of his very life, we bind that spiritual influence now in the name of Jesus, and we remove it from the lives of those persons, and we call forth favor over Anthony's life. Lord, we thank you that even before this week is out, he will receive a good report. And Father God, we call forth that report even now in the name of Jesus. We declare health and healing over his body. We thank you, Lord. You said in your word that your stripes that you bore at Calvary was for our healing. You said you sent your word and healed our diseases. We thank you. You created his body. You designed every facet of his body. And we now call every component of his living being into alignment with what you have created. And we thank you even now for what you have already begun to do in his heart, in his life, and in his body. In Jesus' mighty name, amen and amen.
Amen
Praise
and amen.
God.
And that's the kind of thing we
Thank you,
can
Lord.
do here on the Marcia Week show. We can have Rastafari come on here, Muslim come on here, Christian come on
Thank you,
here,
Lord.
atheists come on here. There are people who are some of our our panelists tell me, Marcia, I don't believe in God. And you don't hear us discussing it. You have people, all kinds of people come on this show. I don't ask them before they come on, what do you believe in before they come on? Anybody knows us on this show. We don't. We could pray on here as well, and we could talk about politics, and we can
Thank you,
talk about
Lord.
laws,
Hallelujah.
and we can talk about legislation, and we can talk about poverty, and we can talk about policies. We are Barbadian. That's what Barbados is all about.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
Barbados. Amen. And
And I've
nothing is
made
wrong with prayer.
and I've made my pledge to my country and to my flag. That's what I've made my pledge to.
Yeah.
I have not pledged to a party or to a person. I have pledged only one person. I pledged to Almighty God and Jesus Christ. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you've had Muslims on here interviewing night after night. Every
Oh,
Monday night
yes.
there is a Muslim guy on here. So we need to stop this. Allow people to be, and that's the problem. Do not bring that American politics in here.
That's
Do
right.
not.
That's
We
right.
must
Don't bring it.
push
Don't
back
bring it.
on it. Do not.
Don't
That's
bring
why
it.
I don't discuss it
Don't
on the
bring it
show.
on this show.
I do not discuss American politics on the show, It has to be something that affects the Caribbean. I've gotten into a lot of issues, even with panelists. Don't bring it on here. I'll leave America thing in America. Unless it affects us directly, I don't bother with it. Okay? Amen.
Amen. Amen.
So
Amen.
God bless you. Dr. Ferdinand, it's been a pleasure.
And again,
Real
thank you
pleasure.
so very much for the honor. I've had people accuse me of having, and I don't pay attention to accusations, so I wouldn't even bother with some aspects of it. But accuse me of not being humble. I'm humbled by the opportunity to be able to be a voice for so many who are unable to have a voice. And that is why we went to Washington to attend a commission. And Marcia, if this matter continues forward, I dare say it may be another reason for us to take another trip to Washington to fight for the rights of people in Barbados, even for persons who want to run in politics, so that they are free to associate with whomsoever they please.
Amen. Amen. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we pray. There are more than 3/4 of this country say they're Christian, and it's okay. If the Muslims want to have a prayer, go ahead and have your prayer. I respect that. Tomorrow we have a Christian prayer group that we are going to pray, Africa Bridge TV channel at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we're going to lift up this country and in prayer, and we're going to also pray for Anthony Dominic Hines. Okay, join us. Okay, somebody says excellent show. Yes, what a show of marvelous power and light. Yes, and a happy belated birthday, Tironi. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Judy. We love you all. Sleep well and keep praying for each other. We are one Barbados. One
Amen.
Barbados.
Amen.
Love you all. God bless you,
bless.
Doctor. And
God
thank
bless.
you to my wonderful husband. God bless you, Dave Weeks.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Thank you,
God
Dave.
bless you.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Watch them now. Election time again. Hands in the air, Barbados. Tell them no more tricks. Now boys are the body. Watch that now. People ranting online every day. Hospital full, people sleeping anywhere. On the floor at the emergency. Lord have mercy, something clicking somebody head. Yes, sir. from long time span. Shake it up, dust it clean. The same old trick from 22 didn't sound right, but it worked just fine. Hearing the people at the right time, so she ring the bell, call election quick. This one here, yeah, this could be the fix. Build up when pressure rise and questions it. They distract the crowd with a scare tactic. Watch the timing, connect the dots every election. Same old plot from the bag of tricks. She pull out the one for when people sick. Block the road, create delay. Keep the voters far away from the bag of tricks. They stay home, don't take no risk. Fear plus sickness, perfect mix. Same old story, the bag of tricks. The bag of tricks. Hey, the bag of tricks. Oh, 2026. Watch out now! Oh, it's the COVID playbook on rewind. Election drop in a crisis time. Remember what happened last round? Only 30% turnout found. No system ready, no sick day vote. If you weak, well, you miss the vote. Them say safety first, but check the math. Democracy losing on the same old path. So hear me now, people of the land. Power still rest in the people and don't let confusion mash up your voice. Every single vote is a choice. Like it feel sick. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. But don't give up your right. Not tonight. If them scare you, stand your ground. Stand your ground. Democracy make the loudest sound. Sound, 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 sound. From the bag of tricks, pull it out. When people sick, create obstruction, spread the fear. Let's vote as showing up this year. From the bag of tricks, same old play in 26. Tell people don't come mix, but we see through the bag of tricks. Bag of tricks. Bag of tricks. QEX all stabilized, but the people watching with open eyes. One day come, next day boom, 200% in the emergency room. Whatever happen, protect your health, but don't trade freedom for nobody else. Wash your hands, mask if you must, but in democracy, you must trust you, because today is sickness, tomorrow what? You don't know what else inside the bag they got, so lift your foot, take a stand, mark your X, show them the plan. From the bag of tricks, we now fall for it again, no. From the bag of tricks, we coming out, rain or pain, oh. From the bag of tricks, open your eyes, no more fear, no disguise. Hands up high, let freedom mix. We don't expose the bag of tricks. Woo! Vote, power to the people, don't let it slip. Barbados, wake up! Listen close.